Who said finding cheap motor insurance had to be hard? You can make finding cheap insurance easier with mustard.co.uk. Compare your car, van or bike insurance quickly and easily online by the team dedicated to helping you find the right policy. For an insurance quote that cuts the mustard, choose mustard.co.uk. Details online, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Volvo. The big event is on now with exclusive discounts on approved used Volvos. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard for Christmas Eve fixtures in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic are looking to restore their 9-point lead when St Johnstone come to town. The gap has been cut to 6 with Rangers' win in Dingwall last night as Motherwell chucked a 2-0 lead against 10-man Kilmarnock. And elsewhere today, Dundee United take on Hearts and St Mirren host Aberdeen. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me in the studio is the three wise men, Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
It's the festive season, but it's a serious business today. Look at this card. Celtic against St Johnstone. The gap is now 6 points after John Lundstrom's goal last night. Christmas will be cancelled unless Celtic get it back up to 9 by 2 o'clock this afternoon. St Mirren play Aberdeen. On the rebound, Aberdeen, from 2 defeats against Celtic and Rangers. They are very low and they'll be looking to try and lift themselves in Paisley. Dundee United are bottom of the league and they're playing Hearts, which means that at 4 o'clock Dundee United will still be bottom of the league. And Hibs against Livingston. Lee Johnson, the Hibs manager, 7 defeats in his last 8. His next game after Livy is Celtic. He needs a win today, or it may be a Christmas sack of another kind.
Fantastic afternoon ahead. I mean, what better way to spend your Christmas Eve with 4 Premiership games, a couple in the Championship and a League One game in there as well. Usually the town will be absolutely mobbed, but if it was me, I'd be getting my feet up, switching on us and listening to the action unfold.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that with the listeners. I'm looking forward to a fantastic afternoon of football, Gordon. Enjoyed the 2 games last night. Rangers obviously coming out winners at Dingwall, and Motherwell, what happened is lost 2 goals when we had the 3 points in our hand. But I think the fixture list this afternoon will throw up some surprises and lots of goals.
Yes, we're here until 4 o'clock this afternoon, so a little bit different, the festive schedule. Causing a few changes for us, but strap yourselves in because we're hoping for an afternoon of high drama. Hopefully everyone's got the shopping all done, and if you're out and about, we will keep you up to date on what's happening in the Scottish Premiership and beyond. There is a big game in the East End of Glasgow, Celtic welcoming St Johnstone, and a very interesting team that's been named by Ange Postecoglou this afternoon. Andrew McLean.
Yeah, it is a very interesting team indeed. Ange Postecoglou said he'd make changes, and he has done, but with no Josip Juranovic and no Anthony Ralston because he got injured midweek, there's no natural right back in the team. I'm told it'll be Rio Hatate that's filling in at full back. You may remember when he was first linked with a move to Celtic, people talked about him being a left back as well as a midfielder. I think it will be right back he'll be playing today. Greg Taylor moved across to right back and Alexandro Bernabe came on for the latter stages of the game midweek, but it looks as if it'll be Rio Hatate playing right back for Celtic today, and Greg Taylor will stay at left back. So it's Joe Hart in goal for them today. The back 4, Rio Hatate, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Carl Starfelt and Greg Taylor. The midfield 3, Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly and Aaron Moy. The front 3, James Forrest, Dyson Maeda and Kyogo. The substitutes, Siegrist, Jens, Giacomakis, Haksabanovic, Abada, Turnbull, Jota, Bernabe and Lawal. As for St Johnstone, well, they've been going about their business really well, quite quietly as well, but they've done extremely well to get up to 5th in the table. 4 wins and 2 draws from their last 6 games as well. They line up in a 5-3-2 formation today. It's Remy Matthews in goal. The back 5, Dre Wright, Ryan McGowan, Liam Gordon, Andy Considine and James Brown. The midfield 3, Daniel Phillips, Melker Hallberg and Graham Carey. Nicky Clark partnering Stevie May up top. The substitutes, Parish, Crawford, Mitchell, O'Halloran, Wotherspoon, Murphy, Bear, McLennan and McPherson.
Very interesting team news. You think of all the famous Celtic right backs across the years: McGrain, Lustig, Wilson, and now Rio Hatate in there as well.
You should have stopped at McGrain.
Yeah.
There was no other right back other than McGrain.
Anyway, Rio Hatate
Thanks.
into that slot today by the looks of it.
I don't think
Celtic
it'll
will
bother
get 3 right backs, but for different
can't field
reasons. One's ineligible, one's not ready after the World Cup, one's injured, and Rio Hatate by the looks of it goes in there today.
I think he's got the attributes certainly to make that position look easy at times. The way Celtic play anyway, we were just chatting about it there with their full-backs coming inside, and a lot of the work that Ralston or Juranovic will do will be in that kind of centre circle area where they're getting the ball in a half turn and starting attacks. I think Hatate has got that in his locker, no problem at all. He's got a good delivery when he gets in the final third. Can't see it being a problem.
At home against St Johnstone, I certainly think they'll get away with it. It'll be interesting to see how he adapts to that position, Gordon. I think Mark's right when he says that the way Celtic play from the back, possession based, they like to build and play through the lines. It'll shoot him down to a tee. He's a very fit lad as well, so he'll get up and down the pitch, no problem. So today at home against St George, I do not see that being a problem at all for him.
Four wins and 2 draws for St Johnstone in the last 6 games. I think they deserve a bit more respect. And the last time they played Celtic, it took Giacomakis to score in the dying seconds to get Celtic a 2-1 win.
So you fancy them to get some this afternoon?
I think it could be a draw, yeah.
The last time they were at Celtic Park, they got walloped 7-0.
Ange Postecoglou was very keen this week.
What does that prove?
As little as the game at Perth. Ange Postecoglou, as part of his moan, if you want to call it that, about people lumping Celtic and Rangers together, he went into it in a bit of detail. He wants people to acknowledge the difference between playing at home and playing away, and how going to McDiarmid Park should be tougher than at Celtic Park. Mark Wilson, they have made changes, not too many, and it was interesting because he said during the week, if there are people out of form, he'll make changes, and that's what he's done. Well,
he's never scared of making changes. That's the positive about Ange Postecoglou. I think he's got extreme trust in his full squad. I think there's a real competitive edge about the squad just now. Probably much more than in years gone by, I would have to say. Even looking back at the teams and some of the really good Celtic teams over the years, some of Neil Lennon, some of Brendan Rodgers, even back to Strachan's team. Yes, we had strength and depth, but I don't think anywhere near the strength and depth of this Celtic squad, what they've got. He could pick, Ange Postecoglou could pick any one of those guys on that bench just now and put them into that team, and I don't think it would weaken it much. Maybe Lawwell, maybe he's the only one that stands out there, but he can rotate any which way he wants, and he's got the luxury of playing probably his best one of his best midfielders at right back.
Slightly surprised at the omission of Abada, because Abada made a difference when he came on at Pittodrie, an instant difference to the Celtic team. He was very good midweek against Livingston, had a goal wrongly chalked off, so I'm slightly surprised no Abada.
Yeah, I agree, Hugh, but it's not a bad replacement to bring in someone with experience and the talent and of James Forrest, especially at Celtic Park. I think Forrest is still an exceptional football player. Celtic have got such a strong squad that you look at that team, they've made 1 or 2 changes, Hatate at right back, but they're still a very, very good side.
Yes, building up to kick-off not too far away. Also a few more games today as well. St Mirren, Aberdeen, Dundee United, Hearts and Hibs Livy. We will get some team news from St Mirren, Aberdeen, and hear from Ange Postecoglou after these. And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now they've decided though to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel in the studio, building up to some earlier kick-offs, and then we will turn our attentions to the later ones when they get a bit closer. We've already given you team news from Celtic St Johnstone. Interesting team news at that. It looks like Rio Hattati might well play right back for Celtic this afternoon. What about Smiza Stadium for St Mirren Aberdeen then, Fraser Wishart?
Yeah, filling up nicely, Gordon. I think a sensible decision to bring the kick-off to 12:30 allows the Aberdeen fans, we know, travelling huge numbers, to fill that away stand as they always will do. And sitting on a really good run of form at home in the league, I think they'll have plenty of support, so the atmosphere should be great, because it's 7th versus 3rd. Aberdeen in 3rd, just 5 points separate these two teams. Simon, also in that middle ground we've seen so many times in the SPFL Premiership, they're just 5 points ahead of Ross County in 11th, so shows how tight it is, and a key period I think coming up for the Saints. But one of the key parts of this game might actually be how Aberdeen recover both mentally and physically from that late defeat in midweek against Rangers. With a hammer blow to the players, but they can take comfort in the fact they did perform well. They did to that late defeat against Celtic. It's been a really hard week physically for the Dons after that 5-week break for them. For St Mirren, perhaps it's the unknown of how they will be both physically and mentally after a 6-week break for them. Of course, their game against Motherwell last week was postponed, so it's been a real long time since they actually played. It was the 12th of November, a 1-1 draw against Rangers here, and that of course is part of that great run of home form in general. 5 wins, 3 draws, 1 defeat, and that was the first game of the season when I was here, and they actually played really well against Motherwell. And of course St Mirren do have the bonus of their World Cup star Keanu Bacchus, who's signed a few autographs in front of me. Earlier on he starts today and been a real high after his performance. His last game was against Messi in Argentina. Today it's against Aberdeen at home. Might have a bit of interest him in January as well. He's had a good season all round. There was a comfortable 4-1 win for Aberdeen in the game at Pittodrie earlier on in the season, so Jim Goodwin looking for the same. So a really fascinating 90 minutes ahead for St Mirren. Their team along usual lines: Trevor Carson's in goals, back 3 Marcus Fraser, Declan Gallagher and Charles Dunn, 5 across the middle: Ryan Strain, Keanu Bacchus, Ethan Erahon, Mark O'Hara and Scott Tanzer. The 2 strikers Jonah Ayunga and Curtis Main. Their subs: Peter Ruminski, Joe Shaughnessy, Ryan Flynn, Eamon Brophy, Greg Kiltie, G Henderson, Alec Gogic, Dylan Reid and Olu Olusanya. For Aberdeen, just one change to the team that lost in midweek. That is Jayden Richardson's out, and in comes Matty Kennedy at right wing back. So Kelly Roos keeps his place in goals. Back 3 Ross McCrory, Anthony Stewart and Liam Scales. 5 across the middle: Matty Kennedy, Connor Barron, Eelbel Ramadani, Leighton Clarkson, and Hayden Coulson. The 2 strikers Bojan Mijoski, and the multi-named Luis Lopez, or Duke as he is named, or as he wants to be called, is up front as well. Subs for Aberdeen: Joe Lewis, Jack McKenzie, Shayden Morris, Marley Watkins, Dante Polvara, Ryan Duncan, Jayden Richardson, Jack Milne and Christian Ramirez. The referee today is Nick Walsh, and the VAR ref is Stephen Kirkland.
Looking forward to that one, Hugh, and as Fraser says, quite a lot of it is going to centre around how Aberdeen react to 2 very different negative results in the last couple of days.
Well, Jim Goodwin came in for tremendous criticism after the Celtic game for what everyone terms parking the bus. Changed it against Rangers, and then his team were guilty of being lacking in professionalism and naive when they were 2-1 up at home with 2 minutes to go. Not only did they concede an equaliser, they managed to lose a winner for Rangers into the bargain. So they are rock bottom right now. Aberdeen like to think of themselves as Scottish football's 3rd force, the 3rd biggest club. That status is tottering, and not just on the back of 2 games against Celtic and Rangers, but by and large they are nothing like the club they think they are anymore. They have to do something at St Mirren today, or a slide begins.
It's a great story, that, Fraser. Keanu Bacchus, yes, he's gone toe-to-toe with Lionel Messi, but can he handle Leighton Clarkson on a cold Christmas Eve in Paisley?
That's the old cliche, isn't it? One of the things I've been impressed by him this season, Gordon, I've seen him a few times, is his brilliant attitude. His work rate is unbelievable, but no shortage of skill as well. You know, he kind of gets himself around the park, box to box. He's involved in everything, you know, and he must be absolutely flying. I mean, he played really well against Argentina, and he must be really flying on a real high. But as you say, a bit different from the Qatar heat against Lionel Messi to the cool breeze and a bit of rain and a bit of sleet in Paisley, but he'll be fine. He's that type of player. He gets stuck in, so I see no problems for him. But good player. As I said earlier, I think there might be of interest in him in January, so St Mirren might have to fend off bids, or if they get a bid they can't refuse, might be in the money.
Yeah, Mark, we were exchanging messages just to, you know, sometimes we act friendly away from here during that game, talking about how well Keanu Bacchus was doing, and then as quick as a flash, Messi run off him ever so slightly, scored. But up until that point, he'd had a really good start to the game. We had him live on the show not long after, and he spoke about how surreal it was. Now back to the bread and butter.
Well, he was terrific that night for that period that we were exchanging texts. First 20-25 minutes, he was all over Messi. Messi couldn't get by him, and then the little magician burst into life. But you know, for the rest of the game, he was still good. And what a stage that is to put St Mirren on, because I remember listening to the commentary in that game, you know, and mentioning where he was at, and I was almost like the English commentators couldn't believe that this guy was playing for St Mirren. So it's a great thing for the club to have, and like Fraser said there, I'm not surprised that he'll have interest in him come January. St Mirren might have a job in their hands.
So looking forward to that one then. Staggered kick-off times today. Celtic St Johnstone, St Mirren Aberdeen up first at 12:30, and we've got two big games later on as well. Let's start hearing from the managers at Celtic Park then. We'll do home boss Ange Postecoglou, followed by Callum Davidson.
Yeah, it'll be a good, tough game for us. Callum's, he's an excellent coach, and he's got them well organised and well drilled. And we know every time we play them, it's a challenge. It's about making sure that we're constantly evolving as a team, progressing as a team, improving as a team. We can't stand still. We can't, just rely on the fact that we've had, some decent results and think that it's just going to keep rolling on. Every game you need to be at it, and you need to be on top of your game, and that's what's got us to the position we are today.
Yeah, listen, it's really tough games. I think you know at times when you go and get around the Celtic, if you do open up too early, they are hit their form, their peak form. It's going to be a long afternoon. We just got to make sure we frustrate them. You have a chance. The longer you stay in the game, you've got a chance to get a result, and we'll try and do that.
We have to frustrate them, which means, Gordon,
part of the bus.
It's going to be Aberdeen, Livingston all over again. And Ange Postecoglou, though, he wants his players to do more. He wants more of them to arrive in the box. He wants more of them to be there. It's not necessarily a slight on the strikers as such, because Kyogo has got a good goal-scoring return of late. But can he get more bodies in and into those areas today?
Yeah, I think where he was disappointed, Gordon, and I agree with him. See if you're a striker and you're getting the quality balls from the flanks, and you've got to be looking to get on the end of them. And I think Celtic missed up a lot of chances the other night there with the balls coming in from especially the right hand side. I thought some terrific balls going in, and as a manager and a coach, you work in that every single day in training. The strikers will be working in their runs, and he'll be demanding a bit more today, especially if they do get in the position. But Callum Davidson's quite right. He's going there, he's got to try and frustrate Celtic and see if he can get something.
Kick-off is not too far away in Paisley and at Celtic Park, and we will go back there after these.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Christmas Eve festive fixtures about to get underway. We've got one game in Paisley between St Mirren and Aberdeen, and we've got Celtic taking on St Johnstone in the east end of Glasgow. Let's go back there and build up to kick off with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, well, for the third time in just over a week, the task for Celtic is to open the gap at the top of the table back to 9 points. That narrow victory for Rangers last night means it's currently 6, and 1-goal victories really have been the theme for both sides since the World Cup break. Celtic with a 1-0 win over Aberdeen that could have been a lot more, then with a 2-1 win over Livingston that could have been more as well. Ange Postecoglou made his feelings clear about that, didn't he, midweek? He wasn't happy that players weren't attacking the 6-yard box. Plenty of balls across the face of goal that were going to waste, so he'll be hoping that goals are on the agenda today, and he has made changes. He said he would In come Moy, Forrest and Maida. Out go Ralston, Jota and Abada. So it is that interesting switch that Rio Hatate will be playing right back for Celtic today. I did watch them in the warm-up, and he did slot in alongside Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor when they were doing some drills. So it definitely will be the Japanese international that plays there today. Joe Hart will start in goal. The back four: Rio Hatate, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Carl Starfelt and Greg Taylor. The midfield three: Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly and Aaron Moy. The front three: James Forrest, Dyson Maida and Kyogo. The substitutes for Celtic today: Siegrist, Jens, Giacomakis, Haksabanovic, Abada, Turnbull, Jota, Bernabe and Lawal. And then when we take a look at St Johnstone, they've been really impressive of late, back to the type of form we saw in Callum Davidson's first season, where he secured them a top 6 finish, got them 2 trophies as well. 6 unbeaten they are at the moment, 4 wins in that spell too. Nicky Clark has been the danger man for them really in that time as well. He's got 3 goals for himself in that spell. They line up in a 5-3-2 today. Remy Matthews, the goalkeeper for them. The back 5: Dre Wright, Ryan McGowan, Liam Gordon, Andy Considine and James Brown. The midfield 3: Daniel Phillips, Melker Hallberg and Graham Carey. Nicky Clark and Stevie May. The front 2: the substitutes: Parish, Crawford, Mitchell, O'Halloran, Wotherspoon, Murphy, Bear, McLennan and McPherson. The referee for this one today at Celtic Park is Kevin Clancy. The VAR is Mike Runcon. And as the players make their way out the tunnel as well, it's a bit of a change as well, because Celtic not in their traditional hoops today either. That's because clubs across Scotland have been supporting Shelter Scotland's No Home Kit campaign, as housing and homelessness continues to present itself as a huge problem in this country. So Celtic in their black kit today, St Johnstone wearing their red and white striped kit as well. The players are now out the tunnel, just lining up, and we are moments away from kick-off at Celtic Park.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Trade accounts available now. Call them today.
Come on then, you 3 wise men. It's that time of the year. Come bearing gifts in the form of festive predictions, please.
You want... Hugh always goes first.
Okay.
Go on, Hugh.
Celtic 2, St Johnstone 2.
Wow, Mark Wilson.
Listen, I'll give you the money myself if that comes in.
Yeah, 3-0 Celtic today, Gordon.
I'll go 2-0 Celtic, comfortable.
We are about to find out. As Andrew McLean says, both teams wearing away strips today. That will be reflected across Scottish football during these fixtures to raise awareness of homelessness in Scotland. So just in case you're wondering why things look a little bit different, we are about to get underway. We're also getting underway between St Mirren and Aberdeen, so it's a bit different today. We're on here from 12 o'clock until 4. We've got 2 games just now, 2 games a bit later on. We'll try and slot in all the usual fun of the fair with teasers. I'm sure we'll talk Christmas nonsense with these 3 as well. So if you're lucky enough to have everything done and you're just sitting back and relaxing, nice to have you. And if you're out and about with the earphones in, equally nice to have you. Stay safe. You don't want to be doing a Hugh Keevins dashing down Buchanan Street at some rate last night, spotted by what seems like 3,000 Super Scoreboard listeners who all got in touch.
You know, on the show last night?
Yeah. Do you not hear about him?
No, what happened? 4:15 he realises he needs to get into town, gets a train from here. You know how early this guy likes to be in? Leaves here at 4:15 and gets back in time and goes into town and gets back in time for the show.
Panicked
Without somebody taking you in.
I was on the train. I was knocking people out the way in Gordon Street. Unfortunately, one of the people I knocked out of the way then sent Gordon a message to say he'd been knocked out the way.
Was it a late Christmas present?
I panicked. I was one short, and it was a
good
biggie,
lady.
A biggie.
What'd you get? Come on, just tell us.
Anyway, and I get back on the train, flapping all the way. The little girl in the shop said to me, "Are you in a hurry?" And I said, Yes.
But he made it.
You get a gift wrapped?
Yes.
Obviously.
A nice perfume.
That's why I was telling her to go.
I don't know if it's
this is why you've been married 3 times.
Oh, please don't let it be perfume. Please.
I think maybe we should move on and do the full-time teaser.
That's why 3 women get fed up with you.
In any trouble. Are you ready, Hugh Keevins, with your teaser? This is a good one.
Okay.
You happy?
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
This should be an easy one for the Dazzler, the Blue Moon legend of the blue half of Manchester.
Come on,
Since 2008, 7 players have been on loan at Celtic or Rangers from Man City. Name them. 7 players since 2008 have been on loan at Celtic or Rangers from Man City. Who are they?
Good question. You send your answers in to @ClydeSSB on Twitter. You can also see the question written down over there, just in case you need to keep referring to it. But there's not a great deal to take in. As Hugh says, 7 players on loan at Celtic or Rangers from Man City since 2008. The only tiny clue I'm going to give, and this only helps if you're a regular listener, there is one obscure name on this list that just keeps popping up on teasers at the moment. That's all I'm going to say to you. So early stages at Celtic Park in Paisley, nothing doing yet. If anything, it's St Johnstone that have tried to go on the offensive inside the opening couple of minutes, but nothing doing there in that one, and nothing in Paisley either. Fraser Wishart and Andrew McLean both keeping an eye on things this afternoon. And if you are just joining us, some interesting team news. Rio Hatate plays right back for Celtic, Mark. Andrew McLean was right to point out he was there in the warm-up. You know, teams will often do that. They'll line up in a back four.
Yeah.
So it was pretty obvious he was going to play there, and now that the game has started, he is indeed in that position.
Yeah, like I said before, I don't think he would have any problem with that, especially at home, and how Celtic suffocate teams. And even if they put balls into the box and it falls back out, I mean, who else you want there than a midfielder like Hatate, who can, you know, recycle the move again or have a pot from distance. So I think he'll be quite comfortable. Now, it would be interesting to see him getting tested the other way. I don't know how much of that we'll see today, but if he comes up against an out and out winger who's then going to take him backwards and keep running him back the pitch, that might be a slightly different proposition, but I don't think we'll see it today.
I was going to say, just by the nature of the game, has any St Johnstone winger ever really gone to Celtic Park and continuously run the right back? It's unlikely the game pans out that way, isn't it?
You've heard the Callum Davison saying before a game, we're here to frustrate Celtic and see if they can catch them, probably on the counter attack, set play or whatever. You look at last week, they went up to Dingwall, terrific 2 goals. Ali Crawford on the bench today, so it shows you that he's went for more of a defensive set up than more of attacking, and try to keep himself in the game, and then maybe as the game goes on use his substitutes. But they'll really need to defend well. I think Celtic, especially with Postecoglou not happy with his front men getting on the end of good quality balls in the box, I think you'll see a different Celtic.
I think we have to get used to it, that with the exception of Hearts, I would suggest every team in the Premiership will park the bus against Celtic or Rangers, because economics dictate that they've got squads that cannot compete with Celtic or Rangers unless they play in that fashion, and they are deliberately 100% negative. I think that's just the new reality.
So early stages, nothing really to tell you about at Celtic Park. It's fairly predictable in the sense that Celtic are the ones pressing forward. St Mirren started brightly, a couple of corners forced early on, unfortunately for them didn't come to anything. So we'll wait and see if we get any early drama. And as we said, the first half teaser is up and running as well. You can send us answers there at Clyde SSB.
I think it is a big day for Jim Goodwin at St Mirren today, because, you know, the fans don't expect much against Celtic. They expect better than what they saw, but they don't expect them to go there and beat them. Pretty similar against Rangers, and they put up a good fight.
with a header saved by Remy Matthews, Celtic. And there's going to be a VAR decision on whether it crossed the line.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
You like that?
Love that. Love that.
Because bearing in mind we do not have goal line technology, it's even more expensive than VAR. And there are leagues, I believe, that have that, VAR and not goal line technology. Sadly, we're one of them. So you're just going to have to look at the cameras and see if they can garner whether it was in, and it's play on. So the best they can tell is that it has not. The full ball did not cross the line, and on we go.
Well, the Celtic supporters will love that. I heard the noise midweek when Abada believed he had scored, and I think he was correct in his belief, but wasn't given. And now we know what the first call's about come the end of the game here.
Well, if it's the right decision, it's the right decision. Just act like they're all wrong. But yeah, I'm sure people will have opinions on that. It's not been given as a goal, and Celtic 0, St Johnstone 0. I think when you see the that high-profile one between Germany and Japan, was it, in the World Cup, for the entire ball to be across the entire line, it actually does. It takes some. If you know, it almost has to look like it's miles over sometimes for it to be. Although this one was the other way around. That was a ball staying in play. But anyway, Celtic 0, St Johnstone 0, and Kyogo threatening early on in that one.
I think if you're Callum Davidson, you'd be disappointed that a set piece, if Celtic are going to score against you at Celtic Park. You've just said that we're going to come and frustrate Celtic. Simple ball across the face, bounces in the 6-yard line. You'd be disappointed that one of your defenders isn't right in the centre of that 6-yard box, just heading that away.
O'Reilly now drags a shot wide, so very much Celtic on the ascendancy.
One-way traffic as we expected. I know Hugh went for 2-2. They need to go up the park first before they can score a goal, but look, it's just the usual. Teams go to Celtic Park, they sit in, they try and make it really difficult. Celtic use the full width of the pitch. They've got good players, and you look at the O'Reilly one, really should be putting that in the back of the net for me. With the quality he's got on his favourite left foot, he should be burying that.
Hasn't scored a goal this season, O'Reilly, I read the other day, which is most unlike him. He's been a real threat since he arrived at Celtic from the MK Dons. But Celtic have started as they finished midweek against Livingston, and Ange Postecoglou is seeing the same mistakes being repeated.
That said, Mark, you're just not going to put every single ball into the net. What will probably please Ange Postecoglou a bit more was the number of players that arrived there, because that's the bit that you can control.
Yeah.
Matt O'Reilly may well slip the ball past the post. What do you do? How do you change that? But when that ball was cut back across, I think there was about 4 or 5 Celtic players arriving, and that clearly gives you a better chance.
Yeah, I found that really interesting through the week when Ange Postecoglou came out and said that about balls flashing across the face and how they work in that constantly, how the players know the positions or where to fill. And he was saying you can't just make up another way of playing. This is what we stick to. And that was quite interesting. You're right, Gordon, in that instance. Plenty of bodies in the box, and if you keep creating chances like that, you've got the quality. One will go in, and then
it's a stressful time of year, and I don't know if this is what is at play, because Ange Postecoglou, who every referee will tell you very rarely gets involved, he's not that interested. He's raging at the officials for a throw in to St Johnstone on the halfway line. It just shows you that sometimes there is something that annoys you. Andrew McLean, who's there, says to be fair, it was a terrible decision and clearly should have been a Celtic throw. And we've got one of these already in Christmas Eve.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's for Aberdeen. It's Matty Kennedy. What a brilliant goal this is. 25 yards out, rattles it into the top corner, and it's St Mirren 0, Aberdeen 1.
Well, I thought it was poor midweek, Matty Kennedy, like all the Aberdeen players, but he's come back with a flourish, and Jim Goodwin really needs that opening to the match.
Yeah, he had just actually hit the post about 30 seconds earlier, so he was just getting his sights lined up. Graham Carey's had a free kick for St Johnstone. The header glanced wide by Stevie May, but a good start for Aberdeen.
Yeah, a start that I think Jim needs. Look, he's not going to come under severe pressure, but after the disappointment of the Rangers game, where he had 3 points in his hand, and basically I thought tactically once again got it terribly wrong. They sat in, they invited Rangers on top of them. It's the same with Celtic. They've got better players, they'll cut you open. Scotty Arfield was a massive difference. But he's going to a team that obviously he knows very well, being next manager. So that adds a little bit of spice to it as well for Jim. And he'll be delighted that he's got off to a terrific start.
What did you make of last night? Because it is 6 points, as we said, as things stand. Well, technically it would be 7 because Celtic are drawing at the moment, but you catch my drift. Rangers winning in Dingwall.
Well, they've played 3 times since the end of the World Cup, and they haven't played convincingly in any game, and they've got 9 points, which says as much about them as it does about the opposition, I suppose. They hung in there at Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen were unprofessional and naive. To lose the game from the position they were in with 2 minutes to go is laughable. But it's 9 points out of 9 for Michael Beale, so Rangers cannot be criticised.
Well, it depends if you want to talk about
Other
performances.
than to say that the results are better than the performances, but the results are there.
Like watching the game last night, I thought it was a poor game to watch. But look, if you're Beale and you've been in the building not too long, you're saying that players have got the virus just now that are out, players are carrying injuries, and you had these 3 games on the horizon, Hibs at home right away, Aberdeen away and Ross County away. Of course you take 9 points, but there is still an awful lot of work to do at both ends for Rangers. It's not just defensively, because shipping 4 goals against Aberdeen and Hibs, there's obviously work to be done at the back. But going forward, I just think they look like they're void of ideas sometimes when they go forward. And you know, you've got Kent, you've got Sakala, Morelos, Matondo. I don't think Rangers fans are seeing the best out of any of them at the minute, but it's job done and they can sign off for Christmas with 9 points out of 9.
That's the most important thing. It was a dreadful game. Let's not be kidded. Dreadful. But it was all about getting the 3 points, and they achieved that. Lindstrom's goal was probably the highlight of the game for me. Terrific goal, great strike, gives the goalkeeper absolutely no chance. I just don't understand managers and coaches think that Sakala can play as a number 9 through the middle. He can't play there. I wish the penny would drop and they'd realise that.
Is it not a bit of necessity at the moment? I mean, Cholak clearly would play some part if he was available. Morelos is whatever's going on with him, he's been playing through an injury as well. If both of them were fit and firing, then you wouldn't see it, would you? No,
well, I would hope not, because I just don't think the lad looks suited there. He's in good form. He's scoring a few goals. He's getting plenty of game time under Beale. It looks like one that Beale fancies, especially with his pace and that. But he's more effective coming off the wide. But for Rangers last night, I think the guys are right. It was all about going up to Dingwall, getting the 3 points and getting down the road.
First booking for Aaron Moy, a battle of the Aussies. Ryan McGowan stole the ball off him. He was then pulled back by Aaron Moy, pull of the shirt, and into the book he goes. Not only interesting team news today, but last night when John McLaughlin, again, I don't think there's anything to be read into it. Alan McGregor was ill, that Michael Beale said that. So John McLaughlin played and made a very good save in the first half.
Outstanding save, because when that cross came to the back post, you thought it was a certain goal, and he'd managed to throw his foot out.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Celtic 1, St Johnstone 0. He might be playing right back, but he's found the opener this afternoon. It's Rio Hatate, a drilled finish from the edge of the box. Aaron Moy with the pass, and Rio Hatate put Celtic in front with 13 minutes gone.
He's looked very comfortable. He's looked very comfortable at the back, not under immense pressure, but looked comfortable on the ball. And Ange Postecoglou will be delighted.
I've got to say, Hugh, and I'm not joking here when I say this, if you're playing right back for Celtic at home against St Johnstone or sitting in, I think it's the easiest position in the park to play. I really do.
I feel like that was a dig at Mark Wilson.
No,
it sounds like a dig.
It's not a dig. I just think that you've got the game in front of you. You've got, most of the ball. You can get them down time. You get James Forrest in front of you. You've got midfield players that will come and take the ball.
So wrong. That's so wrong.
You've got to agree with that, Gordon.
You must get a lot of time on the ball.
In this Celtic team, you do.
Yeah.
And years gone by,
a game like this,
and a game like this, but years gone by, it was
there's no Stephen Pearson.
There's a different standard, we're up against it.
Let's not argue about your career. Rio Hatate has scored the opener. I think it took a nick just in front of Remy Matthews' mark, so it ends up quite central in the goal. And one of those things, if you're Hatate, you've done well, you've caught it well, you've kept it on target. If you're St Johnstone and Callum Davidson, you're probably frustrated at the initial clearance that goes to Aaron Moy, is a bit tame, and then there's no real pressure on Hatate either.
Well, the goals came about exactly what I said, that Hatate in that position, if a ball breaks to the edge of the box from a cross, then who would you like? A midfielder who can strike it clean? And St Johnstone should clear their lines much better than they have. Moy just tees him up and he just catches it nicely, but it does take a nick.
And go on then, is it time to give you praise after last week as well? With the angle that comes to Hatate, in another world he just takes a touch and he tries to cross it, or he tries to come back the way, but sometimes if you do take that shot, it doesn't even need to be perfect, because the slightest nick can take it beyond the goalkeeper.
I think in that instance where you're playing against teams with bodies in the box, there's always an opportunity for that. If you're trying to play the perfect pass all the time, and Celtic were trying that to a certain extent last week against Aberdeen, it just didn't happen. You need to take things on for the edge of the box, especially when you've got as clean a striker as Hatate or McGregor or O'Reilly. You've always got a chance of
Daniel
putting
Phillips into the book now fouled Maeda as he was about to break into the box.
Well, Celtic utterly dominant in the match, apart from one header off a free kick for St Johnstone that skimmed past the post, and that they are looking to get this settled early on.
Tell you what, if you're Daniel Phillips, by the way, that resulting free kick's been punched away by Remy Matthews. If you are Daniel Phillips, Gordon, if you're going to pull him back, do it there, because Maeda's very close to the box.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think there's any suggestion that it's in the box. It's not inside the box, but it's close, and if you're going to need to do it, you do it there.
He was getting into the danger area. He probably could have had a go himself, or movement from Kyogo and Forrest and midfield players. So it was one of those ones. It was a good free kick to give away in the edge of the box.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Celtic 2, St Johnstone 0. It's Kyogo, a front post flick past Remy Matthews. Sounds a bit like the one during the week. It was Matt O'Reilly, the creator this time. That's Kyogo. His goal return in the league has been very good. That's him up to 13 in his 16th league appearance. It was the other side from midweek, so similar to that one, but the same outcome. Kyogo makes it Celtic 2, St Johnstone 0.
Well, easy straight now for Celtic, and an ideal start to the Christmas period for Ange Postecoglou. I read the column in the paper today, Chris Boyd just saying about the Celtic strikers, and I don't get Kyogo getting a hard time just now when he's just such a goal scorer. You read out the stats there. People on the show saying that Giacomakis should be in ahead of him. He is a penalty box predator, and he's just shown again there. Front post, great little finish, adds to his tally, and it's game over.
Yeah, terrific goal. That's what I'm saying about the timing of runs. They work in that day in, day out as strikers, especially after the training. You go away with the striking coach, you work on balls coming in for the flanks, you work on your timing, going across the goalkeeper. That's a typical goal there. Perfect.
There is a delay to kick off, and there's no official. I think it's a possible offside, because I must admit I did wonder when there's an initial pass played down the flank. Greg Taylor sort of leaves it, if you like, then goes to Hatate, it comes back to O'Reilly, it gets crossed in, but Greg Taylor does leave it, so he's it's fine. Goal stands and the game has restarted. Celtic 2, St Johnstone.
Did she flick that?
Yeah, wonderful flick
beautiful
from Kyogo. That's a real classy finish.
You're still on for your 2-2 here.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
It's
possible.
looking good for you.
Yeah.
know,
The good thing is, from here, the way I see this is either going to be the best ever Hugh Keevins prediction, or maybe one of the worst. I think you might be heading towards the worst.
I would go for the
But
latter.
we'll see.
Stay strong, Hugh.
We'll see.
You see, Matt Wilson said 17 minutes gone,
We'll see.
game over.
Yeah.
Now, if I say game over after 17 minutes, there's collective laughter in here.
No, it certainly is.
Not when Celtic go 2 up at home
Two
to
up
St
at
Johnstone.
home, and it's going one way.
As a matter of principle, I said,
Hugh, the last, remember we were chatting on the show on Thursday about how someone saw me at a certain nightclub last
That's
week.
right, yes.
When I get out the taxi and went to the door, the doorman said, "Oh, Mark, Hugh, when is Hugh Keevins going to learn about his predictions about Celtic?"
Well, never
I
is the
absolutely
answer.
love it. He says, "Tell him to keep up the
Well,
good
we'll
work."
find out. Let's see how bad or good it gets between now and the end of the match. Let's revisit that teaser, Hugh, if we can. We've not done it yet.
yes, since 2008, 7 players have been on loan at Celtic or Rangers from Manchester City. Name them.
We've got 7.
Let's do some wrong ones then.
Maybe no.
Lenny has gone for Brandon Barker.
He's not there.
He is not on the list. I'm seeing a few shouts coming in for... In fact, there's a good few for Brandon Barker. I can see Paul Goldie's mentioned him as well. Alan has gone for Olivier Ncham.
Nope.
Just a permanent signing, wasn't he?
Yep.
Stephen has gone for... He's gone for a couple of wrong ones. I think you'll be interested in Scott Sinclair.
No.
Craig Bellamy.
No.
Okay. And we'll do one more wrong answer to get it out of the way. A fairly common one as well from Ben Lukey is Dedrick Boyata.
Well, Mark Wilson tried that one as well, but it's not true.
Okay, keep your guesses coming at Clyde SSB then. Let's see what we can come up with between now and the end of this half. Don't forget, it's not only Celtic that are leading, Aberdeen as well. Matty Kennedy, a terrific 25-yard strike beyond the St Mirren goalkeeper, and it's been a tough old week for Aberdeen, but they are in front in Paisley, the Jim Goodwin derby, if you want to call it that. Celtic very comfortable as well, and as are Aberdeen. They're now sort of keeping possession quite well, which I'm sure will frustrate the St Mirren fans. You don't like to see an opposition team come to your patch and do that.
But Aberdeen really need that. That's what I was making the point earlier on. It's okay losing to Celtic and Rangers, and it has gotten the way the game was lost the other night for Jim, but he had to get some sort of performance, but most importantly a result at the game today. If he finished up for Christmas 3 defeats on the bounce and one of those to St Mirren, then I know he's third in the table just now, but it still doesn't look great for him. So he'll be pleased his team's won up and keep possession.
Here's an interesting concept. We've been talking about teams who park the bus. Now, if you are 2-0 down,
just going to ask you this, you've read my mind.
What is the point in parking the bus any longer? Or do you say that in the new reality of Scottish football, it's 2-0, we're going to keep it there rather than have it 5 or 6?
That's assuming you can keep it there. Because I had Callum Davidson's clip ringing in my ears, the one we played, where he said, it's about hanging in there, it's about frustrating them as long as you can. Once you are 2-0 down, a quarter of the way through the game, that game plan is completely out the window, isn't it?
I don't think he'll change anything just now at 2. I could see the point at 3. Look, I'm not saying St Johnstone are going to get anything out of this game, of course they're not, but the next goal, if it goes to St Johnstone, then fine, you're still back in this game. But if you go and say, right, okay, we'll scrap that plan, we'll put players up top, we'll try and get at Celtic, and they got the part and cut you open very easily, scored 3, you're looking at 5, 6, 7.
I think Celtic's 9-0 win at Tannadice earlier in the season spooked everyone, and managers, because it cost Jack Ross's job, he was out the door days after. Managers are now saying no, there'll be no 9 against my team, and so we have St Johnstone 2-0 down and not at all interested in going after anything.
I suppose if you're Callum Davidson, though, you're thinking just a few days ago when David Martindale's Livingston went 2-0 down, and they scored right away, of course, but they hung in there to half time, and in the second half looked an entirely different game than the first half. I suppose that would be your game plan, but if it goes 3, then the horse is bolted. What do you do? Then do you open up and take another 7?
I think they appear to be saying, not just Callum Davidson and St Johnstone, but others appear to be saying, well, they could score 9 against us, and maybe even double figures. So there'll be no attempt to play in a offensive fashion.
And I think Celtic will fancy a few goals today. Obviously the words of the manager will still be ringing in a few players' ears, thinking, I need to do better, we need to start putting these chances away. Celtic are dominating the game. A lot of people get fooled with this. Well, so St Johnstone will need to come out and have a go. No, the difficult thing about it,
it's actually doing that.
It's doing it. Right, unless you've been on that pitch against a good Celtic team, then you don't realise how hard it is, because they close you down, they don't give you space. When they get the ball, it's very hard to get it back. So it's
the same as even the other way we fall into that trap, don't we? This idea that, and I get why it frustrates fans of bigger teams when opposition teams park the bus, but it's actually hard to do that effectively as well. That's why they still end up winning most of the games, even though teams are sitting in. You look at this, if this is St Johnstone sitting in, then they're working, because Celtic have had loads of chances. So to do that effectively is tough. And as you say, it's not a case of flicking a switch and saying, all right, we have a go. How are you going to do that? You don't have the ball.
That's where people don't realise.
And the composure when you get the ball, because remember, shifting 10 to 15 yards to go and close in a Celtic player to then go the other side and keep doing that, and then you win the ball back, it takes it out your legs, and you've not got that quality and composure. So very, very difficult. And saying that Celtic should be further ahead here. It's interesting to see how many bodies are actually getting in the box. It's almost over egging it. Ange Postecoglou certainly told them, his feelings on the other night, because at that instance there was 6 players, 6 Celtic players in the box here for that cutback.
Well, that man who had a good World Cup, or certainly a good finish to the World Cup, Keanu Bacchus, he's had a decent effort, but it was a brilliant block by Liam Scales for Aberdeen, so that keeps Aberdeen in front thanks to that Matty Kennedy goal. Celtic 2 up at home to St Johnstone, and of course we've got Dundee United, Hearts and Hibs Livingston still to come a bit later on this afternoon. Plenty to look forward to.
Yeah.
What happened to your team last night, Gordon Dalziel? Disastrous result.
I couldn't believe it, Gordon. I really couldn't. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I had a wee sort of a chest problem, and I opened the window just to hear the atmosphere, and I was, singing along when we went 2-0 up, and then all of a sudden, disaster struck. That was a poor 2 points to lose. You've had the 3 points. You're at home. You're against a struggling Kilmarnock side. 2-0 up. I'm going to be critical of Motherwell.
Men as well.
Yeah. You should see that out. I was very disappointed.
Polworth. What about Polworth?
Terrific goal. Terrific. Absolutely terrific.
I mean, we always talk about big picture, and that's it. You couldn't argue with that. You cannot chuck a 2-0 lead against 10 men.
Yeah.
You just cannot. But it also just shows you how, quick moments in football. The first one, is that even going in? Is it even on target? I don't really know. It comes off Paul McGinn's head and goes in, and then the next one's your lottery win, a 30-yard strike that swerves into the top corner, and before you know it, it's gone.
Just moments like that. Well, it's the first goal. I looked at the first goal and I thought McGinn actually put that much effort into try to head it away. It's obviously come off the wrong side of his head, but it was like a striker's finish, and I thought he had more time to actually guide it somewhere else. So I mean, you get that's a real body blow to you. But then after that, to lose one from that distance, one of your ex-players as well runs away into the corner, celebrating.
Your first game back, right? You're looking at the fixtures coming up, away to Rangers, away to Livingston. All of a sudden you could be in deep trouble. So I think that Stevie Hamill and everyone concerned at Motherwell will be really disappointed, because you've got the 3 points, and as you quite rightly said, Gordon, against 10, you've got to see that out. You've got to, at home.
I don't have any problem with Polworth going to celebrate. I mean, the turkey on his table tomorrow will be paid for by St Johnstone. So
Kilmarnock
rather. So
who's got a problem with him going celebrating?
Well, no, Mark just mentioned that he went over
to the corner where is it Motherwell boys? They sit.
Gordon goes in there sometimes.
Yeah. Can imagine you in there.
As young people,
the big horn, the bugle.
I've got the horn.
I've got a bugle.
As young people say, he was having it large.
What do young people say?
He was having it large.
I don't know if I've heard that before.
I'm just glad we stopped talking about Gordon Dale's horn, quite frankly, because this is a family show, as everyone knows.
So as I say, the turkey on his table will be paid for by Billy Bowie and Kilmarnock Football Club, so he should be celebrating a Kilmarnock goal.
There's a bit of a backstory there, though, isn't there? I think, was it Mrs. Polworth? I don't even know if they're married, so forgive me, but I'm sure there was tweets sent when he was at Motherwell under Graham Alexander, and it all went a bit. You can't let that get involved. That's
modern
not
football here. Would that have happened in your day? A wife, a player
tweeting and
or writing a letter to the manager saying how unhappy she was at.
I remember one player's wife got the sheet out, sacked the board, held it up outside the door.
Who was it?
Really?
Yeah.
Gives a clue.
Nah, don't bother. Do you know what? I actually saw a clip this morning that would be, I think this is right up your street, because you know how the things you love the most are like golf, proposing, and like whatever else,
and the reception
in that order. I don't know if you've seen it. It's gone viral. I think it's in Albania. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Boy runs on to invade the pitch, right? But it's all staged. It's all a joke. So he deliberately falls over. He pretends that he's seriously injured. So the stewards that have come on to help him, to wrestle him off the pitch, are all of a sudden worried, and everyone starts like waving on assistance, and they wave on, and his girlfriend rushes on, at which point he just rolls over, gets up on one knee, pulls out the wedding ring.
Beautiful.
So you
happy with that?
Yeah, but what would have made that is that she would say no. I would love that.
I would love the tragedy
Nah, I'm not marrying you. I fancy
keep that up your
else.
sleeve for
I'm
your
going
next.
out with your mate.
I can just see you clambering out of the East Stand at Fir Park, waddling on with your gammy hip and your dodgy knee.
I would love to see Gordon Dalziel have one of those newspaper columns where he answers letters from people who have affairs of the heart.
Dear
Dazzler.
Dear Dazzler.
Dear
Dear
Dazzler,
Yeah, it's send your
I
letters
think
in.
it would get shut down within a week.
yeah.
I think it's an absolute
full of all
guarantee.
your-
No, I'm here for the
Stories.
people. I'm here for the people. I
Great advice.
give good advice. Get married as many times as you can. It's a great day out.
Celtic 2, St Johnstone 0. We've passed the half hour mark. It's easy street for Celtic. Hatate Kyogo. Can they kick on and make it that bit more convincing? Can it be different from midweek when going 2-0 up didn't necessarily guarantee a hugely comfortable afternoon? We find out what comes next. Aberdeen 1 up and doing pretty well there as well, albeit I told you about that Keanu Bacchus shot that was blocked brilliantly by Liam Scales not too long ago as well. You can stay in touch all afternoon. Hatate now with a bit of defensive work to be done, a good defensive header in his own box. He's doing it all. He's scored at one end.
It's not all easy. That's it. Not all easy.
I played right back with Rangers at a game against Dundee United Tannadice, and I thought it was the easiest position I've ever played in my life.
What, easier than up front for Wraith Rovers
Easy
in Division?
because you see
could have done that.
You see the full pitch in front of you.
I know.
You've got people that will cover you.
You're often playing against the fastest,
You've got
trickiest.
you've got a line next to you
You've
just
got a
to
line
tell you where
next
to go.
Exactly. You just
Do
go in
not
a
stray
straight
beyond
line.
this line.
Straight line.
Do not go right when you get to that
you
line.
strikers just stand in the middle of the box, don't do any hard work, and then it comes in. You just put it in. We've done all the hard work by the time it gets to the box. You just get the final touch.
I've got to say, I enjoyed the experience of playing as a right back.
It's brilliant. Like, the
really
most
did.
fashionable players in the world now play right back.
Nah, I don't think so.
Carter Vickers, easy for me to say, has been booked for taking down Stevie May on the halfway line. So May had just kind of flicked the ball past him. It's your standard stopping a promising attack.
Quite interesting that the game's so easy for Celtic, and Moy and Carter Vickers are the ones
It's
that
just
are in the
the stopping a promising attack, isn't it? I mean, it's just Stevie May running on near the halfway line. Let's check in on your teaser, please, Hugh.
Since 2008, 7 players have been on loan at Celtic or Rangers from Man City. Name them.
You're doing pretty well out there. I must admit, there's a good response. Even Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are doing pretty well. So that maybe tells you it's quite an easy question this afternoon. I gave you some of the wrong answers not too long ago, and I tell you what, most of you are getting close. You really are. I can see more shouts though for the likes of Cham and Boyata from Alan. They are wrong. I said that earlier on. Another common wrong one from Chris RFC. Kolo Toure.
Not there.
That wasn't a loan signing from Man City, I'm afraid. Stephen Robinson's another one. Stephen Robson, sorry, another one that's gone. Toure and Barker. So they're definitely the most common wrong answers. There is still time. What will we go? We'll give you another plenty of time actually. Give you another 10 minutes or so on that first half teaser. I think you two might have.
We've done it.
Completely
done it.
Let me see.
Minute Man City comes in. I know everything
Daz has pulled out a few crackers.
I know everything about
By the way,
City.
I think you two have got all 7 correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very
The
good.
last one was a difficult one for us.
The number 6 on your list, that's because of that wee clue that I gave you when I said that it's just an obscure name that's popped up on the teaser recently.
That was Daz that got
that's
that.
helped you out.
Got to give him credit.
That has helped you out, I must admit.
Now, were you on your phone at that time when you coincidentally?
Listen, I wish you guys would get away from this. No, I wasn't on my phone. I'm not a cheat.
It's a good call. It's a good call, that one. Well done.
We're at that stage already. We're not far away. We'll get you team news from Dundee United Hearts. I'll bring you team news from Hibs Livy as well, because they kick off in 55 minutes. I'm struggling to keep up with this schedule this afternoon. It's a strange one. 2 games last night, 2 at 12:30, 2 at 2 o'clock, and up the road at 4 p.m. for us. There will still be an open line, so we'll do that when the 12:30 games finish. So when Celtic, St Johnstone and St Mirren Aberdeen finishes, we will take calls, and you can look back on last night, you can look at today's games as well. Penalty St Mirren and a red card for Aberdeen captain Anthony Stewart, so that changes things. I'd imagine it's one of those denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity types, although Fraser can confirm.
Who takes the penalties for St Mirren?
Sounds like it.
You're right there, here. Right, pick your nose back up.
However, as you would expect, we've got one of these.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Just checking it. Pull at the initial allegation was a pullback on Ayunga as he burst forwards, denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity. See, Fraser Wishart knows the lingo. He's told me it's dogzo. That's what they call it. That's what the refs call it.
Yeah, okay.
Is it?
Denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity.
Dogzo.
So rather than saying all of that, so see if you were to listen into VAR or listen into the communication between the refs, they would be shouting dogzo, because it saves you saying denying obvious goal scoring opportunity.
That's good, I like that.
Would you like that?
Yeah, I like
I'm
that.
going to shout. You'll be up Ravenscraig with Willie Collum next week. Hey Willie, dogzo.
Dogzo, I like that. I'm going to use that.
Right, here's the thing, and this is kind of, we're still learning, aren't we, with VR, because the ref gave a free kick outside the box. VR says it's inside the box, right?
Okay.
So penalty.
Yep.
Now still a red card, you would imagine, if it's a pull back, because that's not making an attempt to get the ball. But that is one that that could have changed because of where the offence was. But penalty, red card, all stands, like I say, because of the pull.
Yeah.
Because whether that's inside the box or not, you're going to get sent off for that, and it's going to be Mark O'Hara with the penalty.
Wouldn't expect him to miss.
Good form recently.
He'll score.
That's a body blow for Jim.
Mark O'Hara.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it is an equaliser for St Mirren, and Aberdeen are down to 10 men, so that changes things.
Yeah, it just shows you how quickly a game can turn its head, Gordon. Aberdeen got off to their terrific start, bossing the game and sending off. Penalty kick, 1-1. St Mirren will fancy it now.
Bad things just follow Jim Goodwin around. 87th minute goal from Callum McGregor last Saturday to give Celtic a win at Pittodrie. 2 goals lost in the final 2 minutes of time added on against Rangers. Another defeat, and now this. If it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have no luck at all.
He sneaked in at the post, has Mark O'Hara, and we're level there. Good game. You have to say Celtic Park's died down a little bit, Mark. It certainly doesn't look like St Johnstone will do anything, and Celtic haven't really had their foot to the floor quite as much in recent minutes, but you wouldn't be surprised if they popped up with a goal soon.
No, the first half hour I thought Celtic had been excellent. Took on their manager's instructions, got 2 goals early on, and then created numerous other chances that they probably should have added a third by now with the amount of balls into the box and the amount of possession they've had. But you're right,
there is another chance for Celtic. It's a ball into the left, turns into a bit of a scramble in the box. Kyogo and then Forrest just can't quite get a clean shot away under pressure, and it ends up in the arms of Remy Matthews. So certainly still looks more likely that Celtic score a third than anything at the other end, but it's 2 for now.
When Ange wants bodies in the box, sometimes he's getting too many bodies in the box. Against Livingston, I thought they were falling over each other.
Yeah, and I suppose from a St Johnstone perspective, you're just trying to throw your bodies on the line, and that's kind of what happened there. They did enough to put Forrest and Kyogo off.
I think from St Johnstone's point of view, you're trying to get in at 2. You don't go 3. Get 3, then that team talk at half time is just a case of, look, we need to try and get 0-0 in the second half, or we're in for a real hard afternoon. So get in at 2, and then you can maybe make a couple of positive changes or something to your tactics.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's out the window. It's a goal for Celtic. It's James Forrest's cross. Kyogo again attacking the 6-yard box. He gets his second of the day. He's third in the last couple of days, and this is a real doing now for St Johnstone. 5 minutes until the break, maybe even more, and it's Celtic 3, St Johnstone 0.
I was saying there, just get in at 3 and then you can have a positive team talk. But it's going to be a long afternoon now. This could run up a fair score this afternoon.
I'm ruling out 2-2.
Yeah, that's a prediction out the window as well, Hugh. It's confirmed. Lasted longer than I thought it would.
They have 6 games, no defeats, St Johnstone, and yet they have to come and play in that particular way. And now at 3-0, they'll just say, well, it could be 9. so we'll just try and see if we can keep it down.
We've got a long way from 2-2 to 9-0. That's the quickest turnaround I've seen.
I said to you 9-0 for Celtic at Tannadice. Spooked everyone.
That's the quickest turn since you came out of Central Station at 4:15 yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I see no reason to dwell on mistakes. I just get on and keep talking.
Kyogo on a hat-trick.
It's a fantastic goal. The amount of times you see this from Celtic, you know,
what's a pass from Aaron Moy to James Forrest?
So usually it's Ralston into a Bada, that kind of move for anybody listening, and it's inside the fullback. Forrest composes himself, but when you see the run for Kyogo, because Kyogo starts behind the St Johnstone defender, he knows exactly when Forrest is going to cross it, and that's where he makes his dart across the defender and tucks it away. Great goal.
It's brilliant from the striker's point of view. Great move. Forrest gets his head up, puts it in the position that Kyogo wants it. But I've got to say, if I was Callum Davison, I'd be disappointed. Your defender's got to come over and cut that space out and give a little bit of hope. But it's a great ball by Moy, plays it inside the full back. Forrest times his run, great ball across. There you go, 2.
Well, are they having a look?
No, it's fine. You're okay. Oh, and they would. You're going to look at pretty much every goal, and there was maybe a slight belief that there was an offside down the right, but I think play has continued, and Celtic are 3-0 to the good as far as I can gather. I mean, Mark, you get the logic right in certain moments that if Celtic are putting balls into the box and they're not getting converted and they're not bodies in there, and no Kyogo misses chances, I understand just to a point why we hear so much clamour for Giakoumakis, but at the same time, that is Kyogo up to 14 Premiership goals in 16 matches.
Yeah.
I mean, what more is he realistically going to do in front of goal?
I actually don't know, because it's a great return for this time in the season, and you know, if he keeps
13,
fit,
my apologies, 13.
if he keeps fit, he will be the top goal scorer this season. I've no doubt about that. Now, Giakoumakis, very good player, but I just don't get the argument that, you know, we're hearing more and more voices for Giakoumakis to get the call before Kyogo. I could see that if Kyogo was misfiring.
To be fair, maybe some of the calls are simply for more minutes rather than to be an automatic replacement at all times.
I could understand that, because I think that must be incredibly frustrating, being a striker on the bench and coming on in the 82nd minute. I can see that. But games like today, you would think Giakoumakis is going to get a fair part of this game, you know, in the second half.
Curious Creature says, I wrote into the paper because I needed some advice from someone with good knowledge who's been married more than twice. This chap they call the Dazzler told me not to be forlorn and invited me to Fir Park just to see him blow his horn. Happy Christmas, guys, and happy Christmas to Curious Creatures. We've got the first of the team news hits from the 2 o'clock games. Dundee United Hearts, that could be a cracker with a lot at stake. Dave Galloway is the man.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one, Gordon. An absolute cracker in store. A very sunny Tannadice, the pitch looking in absolutely perfect condition as well. Dundee United, they're all set for their first game in 6 weeks as they try to kick-start a climb up the Premiership. They could certainly do with a lift, having suffered 4 defeats out of 5 league games, but although they are at the foot of the table, they're certainly not marooned, not just yet. Hearts fans will be here in their thousands. In fact, they've completely sold out their allocation, and the club have advised any supporters without a ticket not to travel. There's a big extra incentive for a win for them that would take them above Aberdeen and into 3rd place, assuming the Dons don't see off St Mirren. Looking at the teams then, I can tell you 3 changes for Dundee United. They bring in McMahon, Doom and Harkes for Graham, Sibbald and McGrath. So it's Birigiti in goals. At the back, it's the 3 of Smith, Edwards and McMahon. Midfield, Freeman, Doom, Levitt and Behic, with Harkes and Middleton playing behind the main striker Fletcher. On the subs bench for United, Eriksson, Mulgrew, Graham, Niskanen, Sibbald, Mikkelsen, Sadat, Watt and McLeod. Well, what about Hearts? It's a case of if it ain't broken, don't fix it. A really good win last weekend against Kilmarnock. They are unchanged, so it's Gordon in goals, Halkett, Kingsley and Cochrane at the back, Smith, Devlin, Snodgrass and Halliday in midfield, and up top a front three of Shankland in the middle, supported by Ginnelly and Mackay. The subs for them: Clark, Grant, Keogh, Atkinson, Rolls, Forrest, Sibic, Henderson and Smith. That's C. Smith. And your match referee today at Tannadice is Colin Stephen.
Yes, looking forward to that one. Andy Halliday's hair, we'll need to keep an eye on that, see how that's sprouting over the Christmas period as well. In the starting 11 for Hearts today, and you look at that league table, it's an opportunity for Dundee United. Gordon, they're at home. They would have expected Ross County to lose last night, and they did. To be fair, at one point they thought Kilmarnock weren't ending up with anything either, but maybe over the piece you look at neither Motherwell or Kilmarnock pulling too far away from you, and this could be a big period for Dundee United.
Yeah, you're at home. You've got to start picking up points, especially if you're bottom of the league.
Half time, Celtic Park, Andrew McLean.
Celtic 3, St Johnstone 0, the half-time score. Ange Postecoglou will be happier than he was midweek because his side are taking their chances and surely cruising to victory here. Kyogo nearly gave Celtic the lead in the opening 10 minutes. A corner bounced through to him at the back post, but Remy Matthews palmed that one off the line. Then missed chances at both ends in quick succession. Matt O'Reilly dragging his shot at one end before Stevie May glanced a header past the post at the other. Rea Hatate, well, he's playing as a makeshift right back today, but it hasn't stopped him getting forward or stopped him getting on the score sheet, because 14 minutes in, Celtic broke forward. There was a poor clearance from Maida's cross that allowed Moy to lay off Hatate. His deflected strike found the back of the net. Kyogo then made it 2 a few minutes later. Matt O'Reilly's low cross from the left was cleverly flicked in at the near post by the Japanese striker. Ange Postecoglou had been wanting him and the Celtic players to attack the 6-yard box, and he did that again for his second and Celtic's third. Great pass down the channel by Aaron Moy to James Forrest. It was his low cross, put it on a plate for Kyogo, who finished well once again. Unlike me with my Christmas preparation, Celtic looked to wrap things up early here. Half-time score, Celtic 3, St Johnstone 0.
Yes, comfortable, Hugh Keevins.
Yeah, very comfortable. St Johnstone show no sign of coming out and trying to make a game of it. They know that the game is over, and they are now in the business of damage limitation. So if I were Ange Postecoglou, bearing in mind that he's got Easter Road and Hibs on Wednesday night, I'd be thinking about taking 5 off and another 5 on.
He'll certainly be looking at changes, whether he does that at half time or gives it another 15-20 minutes, Gordon. He'll have that plan in his head now, because the game's put to bed. It's comfortable. Celtic have been excellent, scored some very, very good goals. He was asking his strikers to go on to the end of crosses. They've certainly listened to him. Kyogo's timing of his 2 goals has been absolutely perfect. Hatate playing it right back to gets his reward. But a real uphill battle now for St Johnstone. It's a difficult one for St Johnstone, Callum Davison, because you know his fans will be saying, well, we've lost the 3 points, get the players up the pitch, have a go. But this team you could walk out Celtic Park losing about 6-7-8-0. So it's going to be difficult to see what he does in the second half. But certainly Celtic have been excellent today.
We are nearly there in Paisley, so we'll give you the half-time story in hopefully under a minute's time. Fraser Wishart got in touch to say there were 4 minutes added on. That, by my reckoning, was about 4 minutes ago, so we'll hear from Fraser soon. But if you are just catching up, a quick recap: Celtic cruising 3-0 up at the break against St Johnstone. Let's go to Paisley then and get the story from Fraser.
Yeah, half time is St Mirren 1, Aberdeen 1. It's just amazing how a game can change in just a moment. With 36 minutes gone, Aberdeen will 1 up. A brilliant Matty Kennedy strike, looking sharp, dominating possession. St Mirren becoming frustrated, and all of a sudden Jonah Younga punt, he just latches onto a mistake, bursts through on goal. He's pulled back by Anthony Stewart. The skipper, red card, penalty by O'Hara. It's 1-1, and then all of a sudden St Mirren have got a spring in their step and a tough 45 minutes ahead for Aberdeen. St Mirren started brightly, a couple of corners the first couple of minutes, spell of pressure came to nothing, but after that Aberdeen began to come back into the game. In the 9th minute, Kennedy hit the near post with a shot on the angle from the right, but play continued, and as the ball came back out, Matty Kennedy picked the ball up in the centre of the pitch, some 25-30 yards out, and he rifled the ball high into the net past Carson, top right hand corner. Goalkeeper, no chance. Aberdeen got a real lift from the goal, really dominating the ball, keeping it ball well, moving St Mirren around, much to the frustration of St Mirren players who gave away a series of fouls, and really took St Mirren about 10-15 minutes to recover from that goal and get close to Kerrol Roos. Again, a number of corners and throw-ins, good defending by Aberdeen, a great block by Liam Scales, denied Bacchus in the act of shooting, then an Erhon volley drifted a yard wide. A half hour mark passed without Roos having a save to make. Johnny Younga then made a yard, 16 yards out, and fired the shot over the bar. He should have hit the target. But the game changed, said earlier, in 36 minutes. Don Skipper, Anthony Stewart pulled back Ayunga as he ran into the box. Referee Nick Walsh gave a free kick on the outside of the box and red carded Stewart, that VAR overturned Walsh's decision and gave a penalty kick. Mark O'Hara stepped up, not the best penalty, it sneaked in, it might have hit the post and then the goalkeeper, so it might actually be an own goal, but no matter. 38 minutes, the ball was in the back of the net and someone could have been ahead at the break. Ayunga missed a sitter just 2 minutes before the end of the half. Tanzer did really well on the left hand side, excellent cross, just hung up at the back post, free header for Ayunga, rather than head it down, he headed it high towards goal. Good save by Roos, but the big striker really should have scored. The question now for Jim Goodwin, how does he approach the second half with 10 men? Half time here, St Mirren 1, Aberdeen 1.
Big 45 ahead then in Paisley. We will do the answers to the first half teaser next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Half time in the 12:30 kick-offs. We've got 2 games to come at 2 o'clock. So Celtic leading St Johnstone by 3-0, a Kyogo double as part of that first half performance. At St Mirren 1, Aberdeen 1 as well. Aberdeen are down to 10 men, though Anthony Stewart has been sent off. Whilst we've got a quiet moment at the break, Hugh, let's finish this off.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since 2008, 7 players have been on loan at Celtic or Rangers from Man City. They are Daniel Arzani, Patrick Roberts, John Guidetti, Aaron Nemani, Jason Denier, Vladimir Weiss and Georgie Samaras.
A great response to this, and lots of you got it right as well, so thanks for taking part. Even if you were hopeless, thank you for taking part. If you got them all right, well done. But the top 3 on the podium looks like this. The old bronze medalist is Sean McCready. Well done to you, Sean. Not quite as fast as Aaron McIntosh, and none of you were as fast as NS1872. Well done, winner of the first half teaser. And we will of course do a second half teaser very soon. A Who Am I? Get your thinking caps on. We'll bring you that and the second half of Celtic St Johnstone and St Mirren Aberdeen next.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Back underway at Celtic Park. No changes yet, so you would Ange Postecoglou rolls the dice every single game that they play anyway, Hugh Keevins. Never mind one where they're 3 up and cruising, so they won't be far away.
I would imagine with Hibs in mind on Wednesday night at Easter Road, you'd see Abada, Jota, Haksabanovic before very long. Otherwise, what is the point? Strength and depth is meant to be used.
Yeah, they always tend to make at least 4 in a game. Let's see if we've kicked off in Paisley yet, Fraser.
No, still waiting for the teams to come out. I think we were at 4 or 5 minutes later than the Celtic game, and the subs are still just warming up. I'm just looking at the Aberdeen to see whether they've got anybody that might be coming on at half time. I think the question for Jim Goodwin is how does he approach the second 45. I mean, they were really good, Aberdeen. They knocked the ball around well, they were keep possession at the back, they were moving St Mirren around. St Mirren couldn't get on the ball, really frustrated. And then just that one moment when Ayunga burst into the box, just a bit slack on the ball at the back once or twice, Aberdeen. And it was a definite free kick. Question was it in or outside the box? VAR says it was in the box, and it was a definite red card. So does he continue with Matty Kennedy, who's been good, scored a brilliant goal, hit the post, but he's a winger really, and he's playing right back. So I think Jim Goodwin must be thinking about maybe bringing on Richardson or somebody else at right back. It's amazing, I said at half time, how a game can change just in a moment. St Mirren were really getting frustrated. A couple of spells of pressure, but they hadn't tested Roos at all. And there were a few free kicks, and they were beginning to get a bit frustrated with the opposition as well. The fans were shouting at the referee, and now all of a sudden they're the team who are going to take the initiative and take the game to Aberdeen. And you can only really see St Mirren, I think, going and win this game.
Yeah, I mean, to most teams, having a man advantage it's an advantage. Just don't ask Gordon Dalziel and his fellow Motherwell fans. It didn't work last night. It didn't work at Tynecastle before the break either. Just sometimes, Fraser, can it go the other way?
Oh, it can go the other way, and Aberdeen set up with a 4-3-2, so they kept the 2 up front. He likes Miovski and Duke up front, and that's the question he's got to go. Does he go that way? And I think that's sometimes the best way to go when you have got 10 men, because if you sit right back, you're just going to invite pressure, and it's a long time, 45 minutes. Whereas if you've got Duke and Majorski, they can get you up the park and maybe win a free kick or two, or maybe get a corner and just take the pressure off the back four. But St Mirren got a real lift. I mean, they weren't really at their best. Looked a wee bit sluggish the first game for 6 weeks. Aberdeen were sharper, better on the ball, but just when they got the goal, all of a sudden they looked much better. St Mirren got a real lift from it. Ayunga should have scored. Really clear header at the back post, free header that sort of head high from 6 yards. I mean, really powerful header, but if he hadn't hit it down at all, then I think that he'd have scored. The Roos would have had no chance. Just looking here, looks like Greg Kiltie is going to come on, so St Mirren are making the change, so that might be a positive one for them that they're going to make. Bring on another attacking player.
How did that big decision to give the penalty and send Anthony Stewart off, how did that go down with Jim Goodwin?
I think he knew it was a clear foul, and the question was it inside or outside the box? Nick Walsh gave outside, VAR gave it inside. Anthony Stewart was standing near him. He didn't really speak to him much. They've been a wee bit slack, much to Jim's frustration on the ball, just because they had so much of the ball and it was fairly easy for them, and they gave it away 2 or 3 times just before that incident. So no, it was fairly passive, because it was what it was. It wasn't a decision that you could argue with. It was a clear decision for the referee. But a couple of changes here. I think certainly Jack Mackenzie's going to come on here, so maybe he's going to play at full back, and it's Duke that's coming off. He got a knock, actually got an injury in the first half, so he's come on and he's going to play at the back, Jack Mackenzie. And I think for St Mirren, Kiltie's come on. I didn't see who's going off. I can see a Ayunga, but certainly it's going to be an attacking change for St Mirren, no doubt. But I think maybe Ethan Erhahon that's come off, so St Mirren are going to go for it.
Yes, big 45 minutes ahead in Paisley then. Can either side head into Christmas Day with a victory? Certainly on a numerical point of view, it would be more likely St Mirren can do it, but you never know. We're poised there, and the second half about to get underway, so I'll keep you up to speed on anything that happens there. We're back underway at Celtic Park. We've been and have been for a good few minutes, with Celtic 3-0 up. And in terms of the way the game's being played, Gordon, it's exactly the same as the first half.
Yeah, wasn't expecting anything else. I think Callum Davison's just trying to make sure that he doesn't leave Celtic Park tonight with a 6, 7, 8, 9 hanging over his head, which is, could be on the cards if they opened up, if they put more men up top. But Celtic will just prod away, use the width of the pitch, get players forward, try and get quality balls in the box and get a finish on them. And then, like you said, Gordon, Postecoglou likes to change and freshen things up. He's got quality on the bench that can come on hurt St Johnstone with a point to prove as well. So I think this is a long second half.
Right, Hugh, let's get this up and running if it's going to be a long second half.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Florent Malouda and Emile Heskey. I've been managed by Steve Bruce at 2 different clubs. I played for one club in Scotland and reached the quarter-finals of a major domestic cup in England and France. Who am I? I played alongside Florent Malouda and Emile Heskey. Been managed by Steve Bruce twice at different clubs. Played for one club in Scotland and reached the quarter-finals of a major domestic cup in England and in France. Who am I?
Great question. He's made them nice and tough heading into the big day tomorrow. So if you want to take part, it's at Clyde SSB to send your answers in, and that's where you can see it written down as well. We've tweeted the question because it can be a bit longer, a bit harder to understand, take all that information in, so you can see it written down there. And I'm going to confidently say that if he gets this, Mark Wilson, somebody's told him.
That's a difficult one.
I'll only do my very best, like I do week in, week out. I've now got to the stage that I don't take the criticism any further now. I let it just wipe off my shoulders and I move on.
Right, I'm glad. Let's move on.
Saying that.
I know it's
wipe off your shoulders.
Luckily though, we don't need to listen to much longer.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It was the last Celtic right back to be on a hat-trick.
Really?
Hatate. It's a quick passing move. Oh, hold on.
Get the button.
Hold that thought, will you? Just you wait a second.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Flag goes up, which is now the way they sort of do it. You delay the flag, make sure you don't rule out a goal unnecessarily. It was a good finish as well and quick passing to get him into the box. Then the flag goes up, so they will check it. They will have a look, they will draw the lines, Hawkeye will do its thing, and they will assess whether it was offside. It was a really, really nice move as well. The final touch was from Callum McGregor into the path of Hatate, who arrived. Ange Postecoglou puts his hands over his face, and we will find out.
VAR has ruined Ange Postecoglou's match day experience. He is a changed man since VAR came in here. He was the least animated manager in the country, and now he makes his feelings known, heart on his sleeve, etc.
Oh, it's never offside.
It's going to stand.
What are they checking that?
Why are we checking that?
It's going to stand, I think.
That is never offside in the middle.
Good. Well, that's what VAR's there for, then, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. So the Celtic fans who moan about it being there, well, they'll be thanking their lucky stars it's there today, because that would have ruled out what would have been what is a fantastic goal. I mean, Hatate's so far onside there. It's scary to think that, you know, the linesman has put his flag up after the pass from McGregor. It's a brilliant move.
I must admit, though, right, you've been there as well. See when, and it stands. Celtic are 4-0 up. Celtic are 4-0 up. You tried it, Mark. See when you've got a defender running one way and an attacker sprinting the opposite direction and it's touched. When we get to see it back and you get it stopped, you think, oh, how have they got that wrong? But see, actually doing that in quick time is tough. And guess what? That's why VAR's worked. Why it's there. It's meant to do that. Hatate scored, it stands, and everyone should be happy.
Why is it taking
unless
them so
you're Callum
long?
Davidson.
The only argument against that, Gordon, you're totally right. I did it. It was incredibly difficult for me to do, but I'm just some guy off the street. That's your job, and it's on the assistant referee's side, and it's only 10 yards inside the pitch.
I think this is the other thing that you have to bear in mind as well, is see when they check that, when it's a goal,
they're checking all the way back, are they?
They could be checking any sort of foul in the build-up. They have to go back to when the attacking phase of play started. So again, nobody wants it to take long, but if you're ending up with the right decision, can we take our outrage down just a little bit?
You know what? I was thinking, just benefit the doubt for the assistant referee. Was it the first pass to James Forrest? No, it was definitely Hatate, because Forrest looked like he was offside, borderline. Then he just checked before it came into McGregor. That's the only reason I could think.
I think you're right. Look, if it comes down to it and they get it right, a couple of minutes ain't going to make any difference to anyone, is it?
Anyway, Celtic are 4-0 up, and it's a race between Kyogo and the right back Rio Hatate to get a hat-trick.
In the right back Danny McGrain's entire career at Celtic, you get 8 goals.
8?
8.
What a player Danny was. Played against Danny a few times.
Yeah, best player in the world at one point, but Rio Hatate has got 25% of that in under an hour.
Yeah, it's one-way traffic, and if you are Callum Davidson, you just hope for the best. Is it genuinely at that stage? Because something that's frustrated me a bit when we get into this discourse, this idea that if you sit back, you will somehow stifle Celtic, and if you open up, you won't. It cannot be that simple. It can't be that black and white. Sorry to bring it up, producer Callum, but on the day of the 9, it's not like Dundee United were constantly flooding forward, and then, you know, if Celtic are in the mood, even if you're back there, you might not do your job properly once you're there. Celtic still might find a way through anyway. I feel like we've made it a bit simplistic here, where it's like, oh well, just sit back and you can stop it going to 7. You can't.
I think there's
an
ignorance with supporters in that respect, that they just think if you put your back line along the 18-yard box and your midfield just in front, that it's an easy job. It's still very difficult.
And in fact, Celtic had a decent effort not long after that penalty. St Mirren. Keller Roos has fouled Curtis Main, former Aberdeen striker, and we've got one of these.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Going to double check that, of course. So it would be a huge opportunity for St Mirren to take the lead from the penalty spot. They've already had one penalty this afternoon that we think came off the post, then rebounded off Keller Roos and into the net. Would Mark O'Hara take it again? Does it stand? He is going to take again. The first one was poor, but still went in the back of the net. He has shown good confidence to step up. Is he going to do a Harry Kane and balloon it into Glasgow Airport, or will he find the back of the net once more? We will find out, and this could be a big moment in the game, the season, I suppose.
I would certainly step up if it was for a
That's
brace.
selfish though.
No, it's not. It's not selfish.
No,
Confidence.
you are, I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I'm very selfish. But for a brace, yes.
James Forrest into the box, good save. Remy Matthews, he's doing his bit to try and keep this remotely respectable. Up steps Mark O'Hara again from the penalty spot.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
No mistake whatsoever. St Mirren take the lead against 10-man Aberdeen. It was driven low to the goalkeeper's right. St Mirren 2, Aberdeen 1, and this should be a long way back for Aberdeen.
Yeah.
But last night at Fir Park reminds you, Hugh, there's always the possibility.
Although it does seem to be that Aberdeen's luck is going in one direction, and it's a negative direction. Dave Galloway pointed out earlier that if Hearts win at Tannadice, they'll go above Aberdeen. You know, all of a sudden
So do Livingston if they win at Easter Road.
All of a sudden you're no longer
Could be a
third,
bad day.
fourth, could be fifth.
This one goes under the goalkeeper's body. It was not the most convincing penalty, so he's taken 2 unconvincing penalties. They've both gone in, although we're not quite sure. Perhaps the Aberdeen goalkeeper may, I think he has been credited if that's the right word, with an own goal for the first one. Triple change
For the first penalty?
Yeah.
So it comes off. Did it come off the post hat or
I've
something?
now said that twice. And so
Sorry,
thanks
I wasn't
for listening.
listening.
Great.
What was it?
Came off the post and had to
yeah.
go. Tough shift this.
It's Christmas Eve.
Aye, all the talk of wise men has never felt further away. Triple change pending for St Johnstone. McLennan, McPherson and Mitchell all coming on. Are you hoping the manager doesn't give you the nod at this point, Mark Wilson?
You're just going on there to burn calories for your Christmas dinner in the morning. That's all I'd be thinking. I'd be thinking, see how many steps I can get in here, how many kilometres I can get in half an hour.
Here's one for you, Hugh. Not a single correct answer yet on that second half teaser.
Well, I did think it was a bit awkward.
So we'll look at it in a second. Let's get team news from the 2 o'clock games, because they're now not far away, but it's just been one of those crazy days with different kickoffs. Let's give you first of all Hibs against Livingston. David Marshall in goal for Hibs, Rocky, Porteous and Hanlon, a back 3, Cadden and Stevenson, wing backs McGuinness, Newell and Campbell, in midfield Ewan supporting Kevin Nisbet. In attack there for Livy, Konovalov in goal, a back 4 of Devlin, Obalai, Fitzwater and Montano. I think that's the same back 4, isn't it, as Celtic Park. Holt, Kelly and Pittman, Shinnie and Bambula supporting Bruce Anderson in attack. So that's going to be an interesting. Hibs need a win.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
7 defeats out of 8 for Lee Johnson. Livy are just a pest to play against, and then the next game is Celtic at Easter Road. You can't go on forever saying, but I'll turn things around. Not when it's 7 defeats in 8, possibly 8 defeats in 9, and what if it's 9 defeats in 10?
You'd be crazy to ever bet against David Martindale, our friend of the show, Marvin Bartley and Livy, because they just constantly punch above their weight, don't they?
Yeah, they're well organised, you've got to say. They're difficult to play against, and let's not be kidded. They've got decent players. They've got decent players that can play at that level, especially against teams like Hibs that are not in form at all. They'll come under a lot of pressure at Easter Road. Let's not be kidded there today, because the fans will be expecting a win. Cause
that's the problem, isn't it? You're expected to win that still if you're Hibs, and probably the last team you want to come under those circumstances would be Livy. Because you're still expected to win it in a roundabout way from your fans. But there is pressure. Very effective team.
They're very good. When their back's against the wall and the chips are down, Livy are your team that you would back. But Hugh's right, Lee Johnson under a wee bit of pressure, but Hibs cannot keep going on sacking managers. They just can't.
Bet the St Johnstone defenders are delighted. They're 4-0 down. There's 30 minutes to go. Jota, Abada and Haksabanovic have all been called back to the bench by John Kennedy.
Well, there is no other logical thing to do than that. They will be just a nightmare for St Johnstone. They'll want to make an impression.
Let's go to Dundee United against Hearts again. Just get a final check in there with Dave Galloway. Must be building up nicely. That will be a well supported fixture, that one, Dave.
Absolutely, the Hearts fans are here in their thousands, as I touched upon earlier, and they're certainly making their presence felt. Not very many Dundee United fans here, it has to be said. They're desperate not to be cast adrift at the bottom of the league, which they could be if they lose today, but a win would keep them within touching distance of Kilmarnock and Ross County, so plenty riding on it for them. Hearts keen for consistency as they vie with Aberdeen for third place, and they emerged from their World Cup break, of course, with a bang last weekend by seeing off Kilmarnock. Can they build on that and keep the momentum going?
Yeah, looking forward to that one. 2 triple changes at Celtic Park. Get your notebook out. Jota, Abada and Haksabanovic all on. Forrest, O'Reilly and Maeda off. So fairly like for like, but on the balance mark, if you had to, that's probably an attacking change, because O'Reilly wouldn't be considered an out and out attacker. He's gone off, and the 3 who've come on certainly are.
Yeah, well, it's an embarrassment of riches, isn't it, on the Celtic bench, and it gives these players half an hour to go and enjoy the game and express themselves. I mean, you're right in saying St Johnstone defenders must be thinking, here we go, 30 minutes to go, and I'm facing Jota or I'm facing Abada now, so tough old afternoon for them. And I think the 3 that's went off has done well. I think Forrest has played his part. I think even Maeda looked sharper today, looked more lively. I always think that at home anyway, because there's more space for him to run into. He was disappointing last week at Pittodrie, and O'Reilly was just his usual self. So a good afternoon all round for those 3 going off. Basically playing kind of 4-2-4 now. Gordon Haksabanovic is central, and he's kind of up near Kyogo, and then you've got that other attacking.
Yes, we've seen him playing that position just off the striker before, Gordon. One thing about him, he's a very clever footballer. He can pick up the space, he can get the telling passes through for Kyogo's runs, Jota in the wide area, and he can obviously chip in with a goal himself. So he'll be looking to make a big impact, but it certainly is. They look at this game and think there's more and more goals here for us.
Did you read about Matt O'Reilly's dad playing in the Garage nightclub on Thursday night with his band?
Yeah, the rock star.
Yeah,
is he?
Yeah, did you not see this?
No.
You should go along.
I don't even know what a garage is.
You money fitting?
How no?
No,
is it just
wouldn't.
Well, Matt O'Reilly's dad's going to be of a certain
Exactly.
vintage.
Yeah, I know, but he's, look at Matt Riley, so the dad can't be that far from that, and
he's
then
like cool,
and then he bowls up with the golf equipment on.
I would
the
go
Callaway
with the Robbie
jumper.
Williams
No one's
stuff.
ever worn Footjoy to the garage before.
You're not getting in with the spikes on, mate.
I would go. I'd go with the Robbie. Listen, Billy Bunter, get quiet. One Richard Gere comments went right to your head.
Well, it was the public that said it, wasn't me.
Teeth fair like Shergar.
Anyway, there's a triple change, for St Johnstone as well, quickly. So Clark, Phillips and Hallberg off, McLennan, McPherson and Mitchell on.
I was going to say, back to Celtic, the change has been made. I thought Giakoumakis would get a large portion of this game. Has Ange shown that he may have not been best pleased with things that have went on in the break that we were chatting about?
Just a reminder that he's in charge.
Yeah, then the Instagram post, the little egg timer, is he just showing you'll get as much minutes as I allow you to play?
Hugh, there must be certain things that come along every now and then that just remind you how much football's changed since you started covering it. If I was to say to you, Hugh, what did you make of the egg timer emoji that Giakoumakis posted on his Instagram story the other? I mean, how do you go about assessing these things?
Well, I think Ange touching the jock steins about him. I'm not making comparisons between the two, but in terms of the way he would handle a thing like that, he would look at the emoji and say, "Oh, is that right?" And Giakoumakis, who you'd have thought was a certainty to come on, has not done so. And he's also, Giakoumakis, through his agent, played a game, that letting it be known that it might be open to offers.
As they come back on, St Johnstone have the ball in the net, but the flag goes up for offside. That doesn't mean it won't stand. Right, the game at Paisley has just become a quiz question, because there is a third penalty for St Mirren.
Wow.
Is Mark O'Hara about to... the first one got given to Kellarusso on goal. Can we just pretend that it didn't and go Mark O'Hara for a hat-trick of penalties? Joe Hart, just quickly, Joe Hart made 2 saves before the ball went in. That is being checked at Celtic Park, so I get that it may end up that St Johnstone's goal stands. There's also a VAR check on the St Mirren penalty, so we'll wait and find out. Producer Callum just wants me to hit this button again.
Yeah, twice.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
×2. Right, Ayunga's going to take this penalty, so no Mark O'Hara if it stands, and there's still a check on the Celtic goal. I've got a funny feeling I think that's going to count.
Should Joe Hart not have saved the second one?
Who saved it?
Yeah, a VAR
could have
we've got one of these at Celtic Park.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it is a goal for St Johnstone. That is going to stand. Dre Wright, I think, with the final final goal. So you think Joe Hart should have done better?
Without a doubt. I mean, he does okay in the first instance with the stay from Stevie May. It's pretty simple. At the second one, he needs to push it.
Push it. You just
or he can just catch it. Yeah,
just catch it.
Check over at St Mirren, and the penalty stands. So a third penalty for St Mirren. This one going to be taken by Ayunga though, and this would be a chance probably to put the game to bed. The Aberdeen have been down to 10 men. Kellaroos has saved it for Aberdeen. What a game Fraser Wishart's getting treated to in Paisley.
I can't understand why O'Hara doesn't take that penalty kick. He's
two unconvincing ones.
Doesn't
I remember.
matter, you still hit the back of the net.
Yeah, he didn't in this first one.
But he still okay, right, own goal. But he still scores the next one.
So he's missed one.
Yeah,
and scored an unconvincing one.
I would never have been in my position. I would have taken that penalty kick. That's ridiculous. And you give it to somebody who misses, it makes it worse for me.
Well, there we are. All this talk about egg timers. Giakoumakis is on for Kyogo, so nothing doing there. He comes on. It's just not. Well, two things. This isn't Ange Postecoglou's style anyway. And do you feel like managers are less and less? They don't seem to care about players being on a hat trick, do they? They don't leave them on so that they can get one. They just make the decision.
Who would ever forget Neil Lennon's last game for Celtic at Hampden? Gordon Strachan subbed him in the very last game. He said he was going to walk off the park and go straight into the street in his gear until somebody stopped him.
Giakoumakis on for Kyogo. So maybe Hatate gets his hat trick from right back.
I always wanted to stay on here. I would always want to stay on the pitch. I know it's different now. It's a squad game. You can't be selfish. You've got to give. You look at it. I've done my job. Giakoumakis has come on, given him opportunity. But as a striker, there's nothing better than scoring a hat trick. Nothing better.
A bit of an early chance actually for Giakoumakis. Gets into the box, the ball popped up and he tried to head it goalwards. I think the St Johnstone defence just about did enough. Let's check in on that teaser, Hugh. Have we still got no correct answers, producer Callum? Wow, this could be the first for a long time.
Very difficult. I have played alongside Florent Malouda and Emile Heskey. I've been managed by Steve Bruce at two different clubs. I played for one club in Scotland and reached the quarter-final of a major domestic cup in England and in France. Who am I?
Love this question. Mark Brown says, is it Yusuf Malumbu?
No.
Ian thinks it's Eric Jemba.
Nope.
SA thinks it's Mario Melchiot.
Oh no.
And a few people, including John and Stephen Robson and James Milne, have all gone Joey Barton.
No.
None of them. Excellent stuff. Keep your guesses coming at Clyde SSB. We are imminently getting underway between Dundee United Hearts and Hibs Livingston as well. So lots to look forward to this afternoon. Celtic still cruising, you'd have to say, but they have conceded. They actually have kept a surprisingly low number of clean sheets, considering that they're top of the league. They've conceded the fewest goals, but not that many clean sheets, if that makes sense.
I don't think it's anything that will keep Ange awake at night, but if you're a defender or a goalkeeper in Joe Hart, it does frustrate you that they're not giving up an awful lot of chances. I mean, look at that Livingston game the other night. Livingston, one foray into the Celtic box in the first half, and they end up putting in. Pretty similar here in this game. I mean, St John's and hardly been up the pitch yet. The goalkeeper could have done much better, and they concede. So frustrating if you're part of the 11, the goalkeeper and backline. I don't think. I think
especially Gordon when Joe Hart can clearly do better.
It's not even it. Sorry.
Just did like a horse there.
Just have held the ball.
Look, I agree with Mark in the sense that the first save's a good save. It's right up, but I don't know what he was thinking about the second one. The least he can do is just put it to the side.
Hatate hits the post. Going for a hat-trick from right back. It was the outside of the post, so it was not as close as I made it sound initially, but still, it was a low one. He's gone near post with the left foot, and it comes off the woodwork and away.
I'm sure Ange Postecoglou would have known he could play in the full-back position, but I'll give him even more comfort tonight, knowing how well he can do in that position. Now, I know he's got them queuing at the door to play right back, but you never know. You know, you get a couple out. If Juranovic is then out the door, you can rely on Hatate to put in a good shift. And it's the way he gets forward as well, realises the space in front of him, when to go at times. Probably should have maybe have done better with that one, but
Go across the keeper.
Player. Go across the keeper. He's trying to go near post.
It's on his left foot. That's
Left
not
foot,
his
yeah.
strongest, is it? He's more a right footed. But as Mark said there, his running power is brilliant. He's got so much energy. He just gets up and down that park. Today, right back, not a problem.
So we are now underway in those two other games, and don't forget, once the Celtic one finishes and St Mirren Aberdeen, that's when we'll open the phones. So it'll be over to you to have your say on Christmas Eve. You can talk to us about whatever you want. Maybe you want to tell us how you spotted Hugh Keevins doing his last minute shopping, or you can talk about the Rangers performance last night, the Motherwell collapse, Celtic's what we assume will be a comfortable victory today. Please don't miss the opportunity. The last time before Christmas we'll get the chance to speak to you. 01419511025 in about 20 minutes time.
Well, I want more people to chat about Hugh's Christmas shopping, because I heard something on the show last night, and the first question I asked you was, when I came in, what was the gift?
Don't reveal it.
Well, it's well, the guy to my left got halfway there.
Actually, do you know, I went into town this morning before this show, and then again over to Clyde Bank Shopping Centre, but it was fine. This morning was alright. It was always like everyone had done.
I thought that what I did was an uncharacteristically spontaneous
Very not
gesture.
like you at all.
I got on my bike, except it was a train, and I got the gift and got back in time for the show. That's the way I roll.
There'll be plenty of people doing that this afternoon, Hugh. Last minute shopping, absolute nightmare when you leave it to that stage.
You all prepared?
Gifts, yeah. May have left it last minute with the dinner. I'm hosting dinner. Still a few things to pick up for that.
Nothing important, I hope.
Yeah.
I've got all the potatoes and veg.
What do you usually have at Christmas?
Missing the turkey.
You've not got the turkey yet? Seriously?
Knows where I can pick up. What time we off air?
2:05 on Christmas Eve. You're hosting dinner and you've not got the turkey.
Yeah, my sisters came all the way from America as well, where
I hope she's ready for some turkey Twizzlers or whatever.
Thanksgiving, she sends us a picture of the huge, turkey that you see in the movies. I thought that was great
tonight.
So if anyone knows, we're running about
4:30
tonight. If there's any turkeys going.
He's hoping for a yellow sticker, isn't he? I know his game.
Unbelievable. He'll be up at M&S.
See right through him.
Get phoning in, get tweeting in
7 o'clock
with your favourite
tonight.
yellow sticker spots.
Looking about.
I've never bought a turkey for Christmas. Will you get one? Are you not panicked about that?
No, I hope so. If not, we'll just have to go with chicken.
How
Plenty
good?
of chickens.
No.
Looks like a turkey dinner.
I was going to come to your house for my dinner, but I ain't turning up.
Producer Callum reckons you're going to struggle.
Why?
There must be some experts out there. Let us know. Will Mark Wilson get his turkey this afternoon, or is he in bother? Send me a tweet.
Is there a shortage? Oh no, there was a shortage. Wasn't there, of turkeys? Anyway, we'll find something.
I'll bring you a turkey sandwich on Tuesday.
I'll get something. Well, 4:30, Hugh. So am I giving you a lift up the road?
Only if you're
you better be quick. You might not have to come to the shops with me on the way back.
Do you know where you could go for it and check?
Where?
That good butcher's that's next to you, because I heard a good story about you near the butcher's yesterday. I've told you that I've got eyes on at all times, and a wee birdie, as they say, told me that there was a big old queue outside the butcher's, very, very busy this time of year, and someone offered you out your car for a square go in the middle of the road?
Square go. Honestly, I'm
And
driving.
even worse, did you take it? Did you take the offer?
Listen, I'm a calm man, but
You locked the door.
I'm driving, Daz, right? I'm driving round the corner. This place is mobbed, right? Queue at the butchers, traffic's a nightmare. I go round to turn the corner. This guy's crossing the road. He's not even looked behind him where I'm turning. I'm in an inch away from hitting him. He's in the middle of the road. So, like I seen at the start of Train Spotting, where Rayton gets hit with a car, he turns round to me like I'm in the wrong. He's in the middle of the road, remember, and spreads his arms out wide and starts shouting, "And what? And what?" so I'm looking at him going, oh, he's obviously in a festive mood.
I better lock my door.
He then tells me to roll down my window. Meanwhile, the queue in the butchers is now alerted to this situation. They all turn around and look at me. So I rolled down my window. That was the worst mistake I could have made. So I rolled down the window. He says, you weren't even there. You weren't even coming round the corner. I said, mate, you've walked in front of my car. I've nearly hit you and you're shouting at me. He says, that does it. That does it. Get out of the motor, you chicken. Come ahead, you chicken. He called
I'm not even going to touch me and you're calling me a chicken.
Get out of the motor, you chicken.
You fat boy.
He
Fat
starts,
boy out of the motor.
he didn't go that far. I would have got out of the motor. So he starts screaming, chicken, get out of the motor, let's go. So I say, mate, I politely tell him where to go. I roll up the window and I start driving away slowly. He's in the middle of the road still, screaming after my car, chicken. Anyway, 10 minutes.
He's right though. You're chicken.
10 minutes later. Why did I not get out and fight him in the middle of the road?
Because you're a chicken.
He looked like he was fairly well into his festivities, so I thought best leave it. 10 minutes later, I'm
hold on. There's more to this.
It gets better. So 10 minutes later, I'm getting the bus into town, and I parked the car just because I couldn't be bothered with a hassle of parking the car in town. Get the bus. Get in my car, walk to the bus stop. Standing at the bus stop.
You're joking.
It's the guy.
No way.
It's offered me a square go.
He's at the bus stop.
It's only me and him at the bus stop. So he looks at me.
Then you really became a chicken.
He
didn't
looks
you?
at me, and I look at him, and we both give each other a glance. He says, "Here, mate, are you that guy? I was in that car 10 minutes ago."
He said, "No, that wasn't me."
I said, "No, I've just come out." No, I said, "Aye, I was." He says, "You almost hit me, didn't you?" I says, "I did almost hit you." I said, "You walked right in front of my car." He's like, oh, I totally apologise. I apologise. Big handshakes. Oh, it was. You could not write this. Honestly, festive period. Manic out there.
So you never seen the size of you sitting in your car with it locked. But
exactly. As soon as he seen me in person, standing there, he thought, "Oh, this guy looks hard. I'm going to have to."
So the chicken's a way to look for his turkey after the show. Basically, that's
chicken. What about that? When was the last time you heard that? You chicken.
You pass 2 supermarkets when you drop me off.
Yeah, okay. Well,
take Hugh Keevins with you to get your turkey. I think that's the solution.
Yeah.
We'll go in here and we'll have a look.
I'll set them all in a state of panic.
David Turnbull's come on for Aaron Moy in completely unrelated chat. Ali Crawford's come on for Graham Carey as well. So a few changes, but that game still 4-1.
Well, it was over a long time ago. It's just going through the motions, as Mark said. Burn a few calories before your Christmas lunch tomorrow. As comfortable as can be for Celtic. They'll get theoretically they'll get a bigger test at Easter Road, but Hibs are at the moment very, very poor. It won't be the Hibs Celtic of old.
Wonder, is Aidan McGeady back fit for Hibs?
Played at Ibrox last week.
Yeah. So I mean, he's a real plus point for them. I know he's older in age now, but he's still a creative force. And Nisbet back, I would expect Hibs to be a lot better than they were in the first half of the season. In the second half,
a couple of things just to update you. Hearts' defensive injuries this season have been outrageous. I know there's been focus on Rangers' defensive injuries. They've had them as well. Hearts is just through the roof, and now Craig Halkett has had to be helped off. It looked like they was going to need a stretcher at one point, but it didn't in the end. They just cannot catch a break in that department. Then in the other game, Ramadani's hit the corner of the post in the bar for Aberdeen.
Oh.
So maybe life left in that yet. And then there's a VAR handball check against St Mirren, but it's not given. Fraser Wishart's getting an absolute treat.
Well, Fraser always usually gets the 0-0s in a windy Smizer Stadium, but he's got a cracker today.
Well, Jim Goodwin must be wondering what's hit him. In the space of 8 days, lost to Celtic, lost to Rangers, currently losing to St Mirren. It's a dreadful sequence of results, and there'll be rumblings. He said last week the mumping and moaning that went on among the Aberdeen fans about the way they played their football against Celtic. He's in the middle of a negative run.
I did say that, Hugh, earlier on. It's okay losing to both those two, but if you go to St Mirren and get beat as well, then, you know, the people on social media having a real go at him for losing against Celtic and Rangers, the volume just gets turned up on that criticism. But then you need to look at the bigger picture where they are in the league. Now, if Hearts obviously go on and beat Dundee United today and they leapfrog them Livingston, but it could still end up that they finish today in third, so it depends how other results go.
Decent chance for Celtic. Jota cross, Giacomakis header, but straight at the keeper. I'm sure he'd be desperate to come on and make a goal scoring impact, Hugh.
Yeah, not happening for him at the moment. Everything is about January 2 at Ibrox. Celtic have won today. They will look to win at Easter Road on the 28th, and then everything is about the 2nd of January. That will dictate how the remainder of the season looks. Were Celtic to go there 9 points in front and win, 12 points means the premature end of the Championship. If, however, things take a negative turn, you never know. But everything is about January 2nd.
What a response to your trials and tribulations on Twitter, Mark Wilson. David Lee says it sounds like the worst Christmas film ever. You fighting with some guy in the middle of the street. But great turkey advice as well. So Gandalf says plenty turkeys available, Asda, Dumbarton, yellow stickers gone at 5 p.m. We've had another shout for Aldi somewhere. Other supermarkets are available. Lidl is getting big mentions. So you've got options here by the looks of it. And I think you'll get this reference because you're a big fan. Andrew says, tell Mark to get himself up to Ross Hill Farm after dark. Ned selling turkeys for £6.
That's still game there.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
There's onion and sausage meat going right up your Is that not the line?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he'll get something, won't I?
I don't know.
I think judging by people who know much more about these things than I do, they seem to be confident. They're giving you a good response.
Well, I like that. I like that the listeners care.
Do you know what though? Content for this show. I want people to see Hugh Keevins and Mark Wilson together going hunting for a turkey after the show. That's what this show needs.
The oddest activity I could ever take part in. Me and Hugh turkey hunting together.
No, I want the lad standing at that door when Mark Wilson walked out.
The boy, it was fine.
I love that.
The Colonel.
Right, fat boy, me and you in the car park.
Listen, he didn't say fat boy. I don't know why you keep.
You've just added that artistic licence.
I know. I don't know why you keep.
Alright, beefcake.
Who's HR again in here? I'm going to contact him because this is getting over the top. I'm not eating any turkey.
Andrew McLean's quite right. He says listeners should really be out buying up every turkey out there before you've got the chance to leave the studio.
Well, you just ruin my sister's Christmas
because we know that you're stuck in here.
America. Well, I don't even know what time shops shut on Christmas Eve.
Well, by the way, you might struggle on that front.
I might struggle.
Are you getting 5 o'clock maybe?
No. They'll stay up. Supermarkets will stay up.
Producer Callum can produce and tell me what time shops shut on Christmas Eve. Your big supermarkets.
10 o'clock.
I'm not sure.
10 o'clock? No, not 10 o'clock.
100%.
Producer Callum, if you could stop what you're doing and Google the opening hours for every supermarket in a 10-mile radius.
Hi, who cares about?
And just tell us.
United v Hearts.
Asda 7 p.m.
Is it? That's a good shout.
Is it? Oh, I need to get
That's a good shift from Asda. Well done, the staff at Asda.
Got a wee chance there.
Yep, and if you could put a turkey.
A
bird pie for me, then
get one.
We'll be happy.
You drive.
You're right there with that pizza. He's calling me beefcake. There's a pizza here. If you're wondering why Gordon Dale hasn't spoke for the last 10 minutes, it's because he's had 18 slices of pizza.
Another good save from Remy Matthews to deny Giacomakis. And Aberdeen are the ones pushing for the equaliser, Hugh. What a kick in the you-know-whats that would be for St Mirren. They've the man advantage. They've had 3 penalties.
They only have themselves to blame, in other words. when the third penalty award came along. That should have been game, set and match, and Gordon's right. If the guy who scores from the spot with the first two doesn't take up the responsibility for the third, then that's your fault.
What have we done to this show? Not only are people tweeting, the phone lines are full of people telling us
where you
can get a turkey. Why do we do these things? It's just a throwaway comment, but it shows you what? It shows you everyone's in this together.
That's it.
It shows you the power of this show.
It's a festive.
And Mark, do you know what?
See, somebody drops you a turkey off, that would highlight it for me.
Would be a dead one. I don't want a living one.
Genuinely, Derek's put one aside for you in Bridgeton, Iceland, if you fancy making the trip with you after the show. But they close at 5, so you've got an hour to get there.
Don't think I'll make it.
No, I think you will. I think you'll be fine. You two could head along. You'll be welcomed.
Kinder
with open arms.
That's very nice of the lad.
That's very nice. Very nice.
Is anybody nearby it'll just come down with one?
Listen, it's not you that needs it. He's not interested in a freebie. He'll happily go and pay for it.
Yeah.
He's not like you.
See what he's done? He's trying to wedge himself into this deal and get a free turkey.
Those turkeys.
Why doesn't he put the turkey in a taxi and send the taxi down here?
No, please don't do that, right? This lot don't.
A turkey sitting in the back of the taxi.
They don't deserve your help to that extent, okay? Do not do that. Do not go to any lengths.
I'm glad I mentioned it then.
Honestly, I hope you don't mind me exposing you on this. I hope it wasn't a private conversation. It can't have been. What did I make a big deal of on Thursday? The fact that we rolled back the months. We shared a.
That's right.
Car.
Yeah,
we shared a car, which we've not done in a few months since I moved. And seeing the way back, see if you think he's selfish in here. Yeah. He's on the phone to his daughter. Right, I am at this point. I'm ready to jump out in the Kingston Bridge and just find alternative transport back to Motherwell. He's on the phone. I'll be down at this. Tell you what. See, before I come down in the morning, go and walk to the shops where you can get a couple of rolls, crispy ones, get the rolls and sausages, and I go and would you? And see if listen, you'll wrap the presents for me, will you? And I hope you've got paper, because I'm not getting any. All in the space of 2 minutes. He's absolute torture.
You are shameless.
I cannot wrap Christmas.
I cannot.
I bet you can. Have you ever tried?
No, I'm with him. I'm hopeless.
I'm terrible.
But
honestly, I think I watch the people in the fish and chip shop wrapping it up, and I think, right, okay, I'll try and follow that. But
what you want to get is tinfoil, and just tinfoil everything, just folds and sticks in the same position.
That's quite
Don't
good
need any
idea,
sticky tape. There you go. So for all your family next year.
The great thing is my wife never ever listens to this show, and she gives me grief for that. Because I'll usually just give them to someone else to wrap for me.
She gives me grief lazy.
For it. I can't do it. I'm horrendous at it. But last year, I think I said that I did wrap them, but I didn't. I brought them in here, and one of the girls in News, Nicole from News, wrapped them for me.
Bad.
See,
that's equally as bad.
And I'm dicing with death here, but I don't think she's listening. I think we'll be fine.
No, surely they'd rather receive a shoddily wrapped gift than some perfect one that they know you've not wrapped.
Nicole wasn't actually that good at it. She did just
well, she's not working here anymore.
A 6 out of 10 job, whereas mine would be like 1 out of 10.
I'm going to try the tinfoil.
So who wraps your gift to your daughter?
Well, I've got a problem. It's not that.
Just gift bag.
It's just going down. Well, I'm not even going in a gift bag. Just a wee carry under the arm. There you go, sweetheart. You'll not be surprised. You'll not be surprised.
So lucky to have you as a dad. Oh wow!
If the turkey was in the back seat of a taxi, would there be a boundary charge?
I like you try to. I think you're trying to more get out of coming in the supermarket with me later.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you don't worry. It'll be a festive experience for us both. Get you a wee glass of port.
Anyway, 5 minutes added on at Celtic Park. This one is going to end in a convincing Celtic victory. Is there time to add anything to it? You would have to say so. A few minutes left, but 4-1 as things stand. Livy are down to 10 men already. 15 minutes gone. 18 now, sorry. And Jason Holt's been sent off after 15 minutes, so advantage Hibs, maybe the type of break that Lee Johnson's looking for.
He had a lively old night at Celtic Park, Jason Holt, midweek, but you don't normally find indiscipline in David Martindale's teams, but that's a real self-inflicted blow.
Aberdeen, Abada, volleys, but Matthews was down holding his head just before it, so that's nothing doing there. That's going to be pulled back. Hearts are well on top, playing some nice stuff. No end product. It's all Aberdeen. That's going to be a real nervy one for St Mirren at the end.
You'd expect that. You'd be expecting Jim to throw everything at that. This the game at Celtic Park. I think you're Callum Davidson at the hour mark. You're happy how you're getting it there.
Here's a big goal.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's Stephen Fletcher. Hearts were well on top possession wise, but a first time shot from outside the box, and Dundee United take the lead on a day or on a weekend when Ross County lost last night, when Kelly and Motherwell were held drawing against each other. How big a goal might that turn out to be? And
a former Hibby scores it, so Robbie Nielsen will not be happy. But the St Johnstone goalkeeper, rightly play was stopped, can't have head knocks, but what a volley from Abada. It would have been a sensational goal, but the play had stopped because of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think Aberdeen will be happy with the news that's coming out of Tannadice. It keeps saying third just now, and that's been 3 disappointing games, no points, unless they get back into it. But Dundee United need to start winning games. Bottom of the league, they've got a decent squad, they've got good players up there. They need to start turning performances into points. They've got off to a good start this afternoon.
Certainly have. It'd be a big result for them if they can keep it like that, but I think there's more in that. I've seen producer Callum there celebrating the goal, but I think he's went too early. I think he went too early, mate. He's still it's slightly uncomfortable watching him dance.
Remy Matthews is still getting treatment, so we will go beyond the 5 minutes added on at Celtic Park. Ryan Porteous and Andrew Shinnie were both shown yellow cards for a scuffle that followed the red card for Jason Holt. It was for a late challenge on Kevin Nisbet.
Well, it makes it all the worse for Lee Johnson if he doesn't beat 10 men. Porteous, as ever, will need to be careful on a booking this early in the game. Celtic to come midweek. He needs to keep himself in check, or he might not be there midweek.
After a VAR check, the Dundee United goal stands, so you can calm down in there, producer Callum, in case he was a bit nervous.
How did he feel about Tam Courts popping up the other day, actually, and was asked about would I return to Dundee United?
Hold on, there's now a VAR check at Celtic Park for serious foul play, so that could end in a red card. Can only assume it's for that challenge on Remy Matthews.
Well, David Turnbull was yellow carded. Are they going to upgrade yellow to red? Although, having had one look at it, I really don't think that's possible.
Well, to paint the picture, the cross comes in from the left hand side. Turnbull's eyes on the ball, goes for it, his legs up. Of course, the goalkeeper comes out to try and intercept it or punch the ball away. Turnbull catches him.
He's gone for a look. Yeah. Kevin Clancy.
Maybe David Turnbull's in a bit of bother. He's kind of laughing. He didn't think he'd done anything untoward.
Well,
and it's a red card. David Turnbull has been shown a straight red card for that challenge on Remy Matthews, and to be fair, it's an extremely high boot. Look, complete accident, but as we know, the way the rule is written about endangering an opponent,
yeah, I mean, exactly how I described it. Turnbull's eyes on the ball, he's up, he's high, he's extended his leg then just as the goalkeeper's coming out to punch it, and he catches him square in the face. A real Sorian for the goalkeeper.
Does he catch him in the face?
Well, the physios took some time treating his face, so
8 minutes added on in Paisley. See you Christmas Day, Fraser Wishart. We've got a bit more added on, a bit of late drama at Celtic Park. It's not going to influence the outcome of the game, but David Turnbull has been sent off for Celtic, a straight red card, so the yellow gets taken back and the red card gets produced. Don't forget the open line is here, 01419511025, and on Twitter at Clyde SSB. A wry smile and a shake of the head from Ange Postecoglou. Even David Turnbull is sort of smiling as he goes off.
Good Christmas Day for Turnbull though. Surely he'll get the next couple of days off.
He'll be in tomorrow.
Clearly Ange Postecoglou doesn't think the right decision has been taken by Kevin Clancy. I told you VAR is ruining Scottish football for Ange Postecoglou.
If you're saying endangering a player, then it's a red card, Gordon.
It's that both things can be true. You can sort of have a bit of sympathy for Turnbull, and you can say he's clearly not meant to kick Remy Matthews.
Unless Postecoglou comes out and says differently. I think they're both Turnbull and him have that wry smile because, you know, it was one of those that it was unavoidable really. Turnbull went for it with intentions of playing the ball. He has caught him, but by the letter of the law,
that's what there are certain incidents that make me it would be frustrating as a player. Again, by the letter of the law, is endangering the opponent? Probably. I don't know if you could argue with that.
Yeah.
If you're David Turnbull, he could still appeal it, of course. Tony Watt managed to win an appeal. If you're David Turnbull, do you even really know if the keeper's coming out? Because you're just watching the cross, you dangle your leg. So, like I say, both things can be true. You can sort of feel hard done by and kind of acknowledge that you probably maybe were endangering an opponent.
Just bad fortune. Yeah,
we'll wait and see, because you never know. The appeal might be successful, which of course then makes a mockery for some people of the process. But there we are. Let's do this, Hugh Keevins, and finish off while we can.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Florent Malouda and Emile Heskey. I've been managed by Steve Bruce at two different clubs. I played for one team in Scotland and reached the quarterfinals of a major domestic cup in England and in France. I am Olivier Tebele.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Did you get that, you two?
No, not at all.
I didn't think so. Miles off it. Well done. A great response. Really, really good. Botox 1995 is in third place. Token Jester in second place. And John McCormick is the winner. Well done to the three of you, and well done to everyone else. Late chance for Leela Bada, but he's skied it over from Hatate's layoff, and it's full time at Celtic Park.
Celtic 4, St Johnstone 1, the full-time score. 2 from Kyogo and 2 from Hatate give Ange Postecoglou's side a straightforward win here at Celtic Park. Rio Hatate, well, he may well have been playing it right back today, but it definitely didn't stifle him in an attacking sense. He got the opening goal 14 minutes in. Celtic broke forward. It was a poor clearance from Maida's cross that allowed Aaron Moy to get on the ball at the edge of the box. He laid it off to Rio Hatate. He drilled the ball goalwards. It took a deflection before finding the back of the net. Kyogo made it 2 a few minutes later. Matt O'Reilly's low cross from the left was flicked in by him at the near post, and then a really well worked goal for the third. It was Kyogo getting in the right area of the box again. It started with a great pass down the channel by Aaron Moy to James Forrest. It was a low cross from him into the 6-yard box, put on a plate for Kyogo, who finished well that time. Hatate got his second 53 minutes in. A lovely passing move to get Celtic into the box. McGregor got the final pass off to Hatate, who finished well. The flag did go up for offside initially. It went to VAR and it was ruled onside, and the goal was given. VAR then played its part for St Johnstone's consolation goal. Stevie May was played in over the top. His shot was saved by Joe Hart. Dre Wright's follow-up shot was also saved, but Hart could only palm it back into his path, and Dre Wright found the net. The flag went up once again, but this goal stood as well after a VAR check. Hatate couldn't complete his hat-trick with a left-footed shot. That one came off the post, and then VAR got involved again right at the death. David Turnbull, he was booked initially for a high foot as he challenged for the ball with Remy Matthews. He caught the St Johnstone goalkeeper in the face. Kevin Clancy called to the screen, and he upgraded that one to a red card. But Celtic sign off for Christmas with 3 points and a 9-point lead at the top of the table again. The full-time score at Celtic Park is Celtic 4, St Johnstone 1.
And there's been late drama in Paisley. Remember, Aberdeen down to 10 men for a long time. They were pushing and pushing and pushing for what would be an unlikely equaliser, and there has been a goal at the Smiza Stadium.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
But it's a goal for St Mirren, and they've surely won it. Killaroos was up the park for a corner. Aberdeen were pressing so much. Trevor Carson gathered the ball, booted it up the pitch. It fell to Greg Kiltie, and he was able to roll it into an empty net from 40 yards. I'm sure the Aberdeen fans aside, everyone else loves to see that, don't you? You love to see the goalie getting caught out if he goes up the other end of the pitch. Either needs to score or get caught out. It's the only happy outcome as a neutral. So no full-time whistle yet, but going to be 3 points to St Mirren.
a farcical end to a farcical run for Aberdeen. 3 games in the space of 8 days. What a roller coaster it has been for them. But the bottom line is 3 games, no points, and that doesn't look good for Aberdeen.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, and I think today was the really important one out of those 3 games, the one that you're expected to win. You have the better squad, you have the bigger budget, you have the manager that you've taken from that team. So a real sore one for Jim Goodwin, and Hugh's right to end it in that fashion. It doesn't look good. Jim's got to regroup his players and hope to get a run going to consolidate 3rd place, because that's where Aberdeen want to be.
Yeah, it could still work out okay for him. I'm sure he'll be disappointed. I think they've got Kilmarnock away next, which has got to be a difficult game as well. But if Hearts lose today and Livingston don't pick up 3 points, then tonight the table will make good reading for Jim Goodwin, although he's had a bad 3 games.
Don't forget the open line is here right now, pretty much. 0141 951 1025. So come on then, what's on your mind, Celtic fans? A comfortable afternoon. 2 for Kyogo, 2 for Hatate at right back. What jumped out for you today? Is Hatate an option there going forward? What did you make of Kyogo's contribution? There was a lot of good attacking play on show, so how did you feel about that? A moment at the end though there, David Turnbull showing a straight red card after a VAR check. Was that the right call or the wrong call? You let us know. 0141 951 1025. Rangers fans, let's look back on last night as well. 3 points, 9 out of 9 under Michael Beale. Is that all that matters? Are you happy, or are there still some concerns about performance levels and so on? There was a few things that was perhaps jumping out at you from last night. Matondo and Sakala maybe a bit wasteful. There was also Scott Arfield, big clamour for him to maybe start because he gets his 2 goals during the week. Then he comes off. Where are the extra goals going to come from? John Lundstrom certainly found one last night. So 0141 951 1025. Give us a call right now. Celtic fans, what did you make of that today? Rangers fans, what about last night? And St Mirren fans, you could get in touch because it's finished there as well. Fraser Wishart.
Well, I think you can tell by the noise around me from St Mirren supporters, their team have won. St Mirren 3, Aberdeen 1. What a dramatic 90 minutes in Paisley. What a way to end their home games in 2022. You could actually argue Aberdeen were the better team over the piece. They were ahead through a really brilliant Matthew Kennedy long distance strike, but then in 36 minutes Stewart was sent off for the first penalty. St Mirren had 3 penalties. None of them were convincingly taken. 2 scored by O'Hara, 1 missed by Ayunga. There was that red card, and in injury time Greg Kiltie rolled the ball into an empty net with no goalkeeper to score the 3rd goal for St Mirren. They were level at the break. Aberdeen had been the better team ahead through that Kennedy goal in the 9th minute. He'd actually hit the near post on the angle with a shot from the right. As play continued, he drifted into the middle, picked the ball 25-30 yards out. What a great shot, high into the top corner of the net. Carson, no chance. Dons had dominated the game, comfortable possession, but the game changed in 36 minutes with that Anthony Stewart red card. He pulled back Jonah Ayunga as he burst into the box. Nick Walsh gave the free kick outside the box and the red card. VAR overturned and gave the penalty, and Mark O'Hara stepped up. It wasn't a great strike. It looked like he actually hit the post, then Kel Roos and into the back of the net, but no matter, it was 1 each at the break. Both teams made changes at half time. Kiltie on for Erhorn, was booked in the first half. Mackenzie and Duncan on for Duke and Clarkson. A 3-5-1 for Aberdeen, but then St Mirren got their 2nd goal and their 2nd penalty on 51 minutes. Curtis Main was going across the box, going nowhere as he ran onto a loose ball. Kelly Roos came from his line, no need to challenge. Main's going away from goal, but he fouled at the St Mirren striker. Again a VAR check. Mark O'Hara stepped up again, and this time he went for power and he drove the ball powerfully, but under the goalkeeper's body and into the back of the net. 62, 3rd penalty for St Mirren. Again a lovely ball by Tanzer, set Ayunga clean through into the box. Definitely fouled by Ross McCrory. He tried to get the ball, so it was only a yellow card. Ayunga, not O'Hara, this time took the ball. It was a poor effort down the middle, and although Roos stifled his left, he managed to save the ball with his feet. Gallagher was next up for St Mirren. A good header that was looping towards the top corner, headed over by Scales. Then from that subsequent corner, the big centre back had another header just over the bar. But then towards the end, Aberdeen in the last 15 minutes really pushing hard for the equaliser. Corner balled around the Saints box. Ramadani hit the junction of the post and bar. There were claims for handball by the Dons. VAR said no. So all Aberdeen towards the end, pushing really, really hard and controlled the game. Trevor Carson made a good save with his feet from Mackenzie's shot. Then Duncan and Miofsky somehow couldn't get a touch 2 yards out to a Kennedy corner, and then the drama. deep into stoppage time. Matty Kennedy with a free kick for Aberdeen, touched over by Carson. From that corner, Kelly Roos, the Aberdeen goalkeeper, had gone up for the ball. He got a touch to the ball as he dived to try and head it. It was grabbed by Trevor Carson, who just belted it up the park. Mistake by the Aberdeen players at the back, and it fell to Greg Kiltie. He took his time and rolled the ball into the net from 40 yards with his left foot. Really dramatic 90 minutes here. I have to say it's a tough week for Jim Goodwin. 3 defeats in a week, but for St Mirren, this brilliant home run continues. They've now in the last 9 home games 6 wins and 3 draws. Full time in Paisley, St Mirren 3, Aberdeen 1.
Got one of these at Easter Road.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Kevin Nisbet puts Hibs 1 up on 10-man Livy. Jason Holt sent off. Kevin Nisbet's opened the scoring. Right, come on, 01419511025. What have you made of today's football? What about last night? All the usual questions, and we want your answers right here next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lucas Jaguar. The big event is on now with exclusive discounts on approved used Jaguars.